Welcome to America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Live coverage of the Friday card from South Ozone Park, New York at Aqueduct. Today's feature, the veteran Amundsen enters on a serious role. He's won 3 of his last 4 and led every step of the way in his last 2 outings. He'll try to win for the first time at 7/8. Synthesis will try and put an end to that streak. He drops out of a tough grade 3 and has been at his best at 7 furlongs. Meanwhile, at Oaklawn Park, it's opening day in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and we'll have races 4 through 9 on the first card of the meet, including one of the most exciting 2-year-olds in the game. After trying turf for the Breeders' Cup, Tyler's Tribe is back to dirt where he is undefeated and a multiple stakes winner already in 5 starts. Happy's a choice will try and stop the big favorite. Impressive in his maiden win at Keeneland. Can he continue to improve also off a surprising reversal of form in his last start? All that and more ahead on this Friday edition of America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Sun shining here in South Ozone Park, New York. Greg Wolf alongside Anthony Stabile. We'll have the late pick 4 we'll get into in a moment here in New York, and very excited for our opening day coverage in Hot Springs. We'll have Paul LaDuca with live on-site coverage.
Fantastic meet set for Hot Springs. Big purses, big pools, and hopefully some big payouts for us here on America's Day at the Races, Greg. I'd like to try and take advantage of those big fields, and so the pool's gigantic, and let's try and find some needles in the haystack today.
Meanwhile, this feature today, this is a good one. We talked about Amundsen at the top of the show here. 7-5 morning line favorite, claimed 2 starts ago by Linda Rice. She put him right back into the winner's circle. This 6-year-old in career form right now. He has won 3 of his last 4 starts.
We are 10 minutes to post from race number 6, which I believe is our first live race of the afternoon. Linda Rice is going for 6 race wins in a row. She won 3 yesterday, 2 so far today. And Amundsen, he has just been on a run. You mentioned it in the open, Greg. 3 out of his last 4 for a horse that quite a few people, including myself, kind of had written off a little bit here. He lost his speed. He kind of lost his way, but he's won 4 of 7 this year, and he's been in raging form. Career best 98 Beyer speed figure last time out. His friend has never been at a distance. It's been his foe, really. He's going to have to handle 7/8 today, but the barn's going well. The runner's going well. We'll see if Amundsen can go 7/8 today and get the job done in our Friday feature.
Yeah, we look forward to it. It's a good one. Kendrick Carmouche will be back aboard. He was on board that gate-to-wire win November 12th at the Aqueduct meet when he looked very impressive. And, yeah, career best figure he earned in that race. That's part of what we have ahead here in New York. This is presented by Claiborne Farm, so late pick 4's next. Races 6 through 9 were fast here in South Ozone Park and muddy for the opening day card in Hot Springs, Arkansas. At Oaklawn, we'll bring you races 4 through 9. Late pick 5 we'll have in Tyler's Tribe. Undefeated, 5 for 5 on dirt. The odds-on favorite in that opening day feature in the Advent. You can, of course, play it all by getting signed up, started with Naira Bets. $200 deposit match sign-up bonus for new members with that code right there, match 200. And bet any track, anywhere, anytime at NairaBets.com. We bring in Jonathan Kinchin to help us tackle this late pick 4 ahead here in New York. Hey, JK.
Hello, Wolfie. How are you? Hope you're warm downstate. It's chilly upstate, but nothing too bad. Race 7 is my best bet. I like the 4 Lilu. It's a horse that has a lot of tactical speed. And when you look at these sprint races, I'm always going to kind of lean towards horses that are forward, especially when their main competition, the 7, Pharaoh's Heart, seems to kind of have lost a step and is going to be coming from out of it. They're going to have to run past Lilu late. And I just feel like Lilu's really going to appreciate that cutback from 6.5 back to 6. And if you look from a pace figure standpoint, this horse projects to get clear in here. And it looks like they're going to appreciate the cutback based on the 6.5 back to the 6. So my best bet in here today will be Lilu. I think Amundsen's a very likely winner. I think you're going to get a little bit better value in the 7th with Lilu.
I'm a Lilu fan as well. We did Talking Horses earlier this morning. Was in a really tough stakes race last time out and potentially just went a little too fast in there.
Perhaps. I don't know if she's getting loose today. I think there's some other speed types in there, including Speaks for Itself, who was a big debut maiden win and came back and just did not run a step. I think it's a good sign, though, that Chad Brown did not skip the next allowance race up with her. He could have skipped this one, running another 3 or 4 weeks. He did not. I think it's a good sign that she's back, and I would imagine that if she can regain the form from her debut, she'll be forward as well. That's a fun back-to-back 7th and 8th races today, the 2 middle legs of this late pick 4.
Yeah, 2 very good ones, part of that sequence. Let's look at some key dates ahead. A lot of big dates to look forward to out in Hot Springs, including Apple Blossom Day, one of the best races, most prestigious in the country in that distaff division. Before we get there, we got the Smarty Jones Stakes on the road to the Triple Crown on New Year's Day. Southwest Stakes, Rebel, Arkansas Derby, all on the road to that Triple Crown. Points races as well. Let's check in for the first time at the meets with our buddy, Paula Duca. How you doing, Paulie?
I'm doing well, Greg. It's good to be back at Oaklawn Park here. Opening day here of an unbelievable meet here. It starts here, obviously, and it ends right at the end of May, right to Derby, actually, May 7th as well. A ton of different highlights, as you guys mentioned here. Actually, beautiful day. There's been a ton of rain in the area the last 4 to 5 days, and that's why we're getting a muddy racetrack. This is actually the first day we've gotten a break from some rain. So a beautiful day out. The sun has peaked out a tiny bit, and a little bit later on, we do have a stakes race, the Advent with Tyler's Tribe. What a great story behind the horse, first of all. But obviously, an Iowa bred that went into the Breeders' Cup sprint and did not perform the way they expected, as you know, obviously here. But Timothy Martin's going to bring this horse back today a little bit later on. It's going to be very, very exciting to see him back in action, because you kind of look at some of the races this horse put together, Son as Sharp as Tekka. I mean, they're mind-blowing. I mean, 104, 109 and change, 109 and change. It was a really tough ask to ask a horse to step on the turf for the first time and to run against world-class turf horses. So it says on the comment line, Van Doff and Blood. Timothy Martin is a very, very sharp trainer. Kylie Jordan, the regular jockey, will be aboard. And Sharp as Tech is a horse that did like to slop a little bit. You're just wondering if this horse can put that race behind him, because definitely going to be the speed of the race, Greg, and the horse to catch.
Paulie, thanks. Yeah, that was the first time ever, according to Tim Martin, that this horse had bled. He was shocked by it. They gave him about 10 days off of training time. Now back to a surface where he has done absolutely nothing wrong. Perfect 5 for 5, and he will be a very short price in that Advent. Looking forward to seeing Tyler's Tribe in action.
He gets his Lasix back as well, so that'll help getting back to the main track. And, yeah, looking forward to seeing him run, and a great way to kick off opening day down in Hot Springs.
All right, that'll be race 8 on today's card. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. Let's get to race 6, pick 4, here in New York, coming up. And it will kick off with a $40,000 claiming race. Horses who've not won 2 lifetime, 2 turns, mile and an eighth, 3 to 5 on complete agenda. Todd Pletcher, Rapoli St. Elias Stable, Kendrick Carmouche.
Yeah, this horse, the barn had high hopes for this horse before he even kicked off his career, and they just haven't panned out. He's in for a tag for the first time today, and you see he's a prohibitive favorite right now.
8 to 1. This is Spetro, Dylan Davis for Charlie Baker.
See if Dylan tries to take him flag faulter. That's all. This horse doesn't have a lot of dirt races, but the dam was part of the Paula Silver Lining Dad's Caps family.
Afjan got a big figure on some services, and Laurel to break that maiden career start, number 11.
Took the blinkers off last time in the first start on the dirt for Kerry Brion. Jose Gomez, Bug Boy's going to climb aboard today.
Curbstone had a win on dirt. Was that 1.25 miles on the slop at Churchill?
Yeah, see if he can go wire to wire. Maddie Oliver looking for her first win.
Uncle Waterflow went by, and here's Bourbon's Hope Linda Rice, second off the claim.
Linda Rice looking to win 6 consecutive races on the circuit. She won 3 yesterday, 2 so far today with Jose Lascano, who's looking for his 3rd as well.
3 to 5 favorite, nice appearance.
He doesn't have any speed, complete agenda. He's going to need a little help on the front end. Kendrick Carmouche is going to have his work cut out for him in here.
And strong white, Manny Franco rides on the outside off the claim.
Yeah, 10th start was the maiden breaker for this son of Brody's cause. First start for Oscar Barrera. Manny Franco picks up as Carmouche opts for the favorite.
2 minutes to post here in this 6th race. It kicks off to late pick 4. You can follow along in the program, get all the stats of the horses, trainers, jockeys in today's action with free Equibase past performances. To download those, go to NYRA.com/TV schedule. and get signed up and started. Pick 4 pool, 71,000 and growing. Let's welcome in for the first time today, Maggie Wolfendale.
Whew, Greg, it's a little chilly down here as we'll start with number 6. That is your big favorite in here, Complete Agenda for trainer Todd Pletcher. And he is one that you guys were saying does leave himself with a bit to do, as he is getting quite the warm-up, though, from Kendrick Carmouche. And I don't think that Kendrick will allow him to leave himself too much to do today, especially given the class relief that he's receiving. I don't see any reason not to like him here. I know the only reason not to like him is his 3 to 5 short price. So let's look at some others, but ultimately I'm going to have to go with him. As we'll take a look at Spetro, as Anthony was saying, could very well work out to be the pace. And while he does look as though he should handle the dirt, he has shown now in 2 dry track races and 2 wet track races that it's really not for him. But what I will say from a positive standpoint is that this is the best weight and conditioning I've seen this horse maintain this year so far. So maybe he is getting stronger as a late 3-year-old, and maybe one that now, with the age, with the strengthening, could run more effectively on this surface. As we'll also take a look at Uncle Waterflow. He gets some clash relief here too. You know, maybe he was a little bit not disappointing. It was probably a pretty tough 40 non-2 life 3 back, and then he's been in some tough spots since then and running well 2 back in the starter allowance. He looks great. From what I can see, is getting a big warm up here from Eric Cancel. Great coat to him, good energy. He's one too, like the favorite, that often leaves himself with a little too much to do, but I like the energy he's showing, Greg, and the warm up he's receiving to boot.
Thank you, Maggie. He's 9-1 right now. He's 2 back. He was 47-1 and ran a huge effort. Didn't fire last start, so trainer brings him back in 7 days. We'll see if that turns out to be the right move or not. Pick 4 begins here. 2 to 5 favoritism on Complete Agenda. You look at who he's faced, Anthony. I mean, War Campaign. Horse who was multiple stakes placed, was 3rd in the Bourbon Trail behind Homebrew. Warrior Johnny, who is Saratoga win. Maybe he should have been in the 3-year-old stakes that summer with the performance he put in there. Keep Me in Mind, a horse who was 2nd in the Jim Dandy. He's faced some really good horses.
When he finally broke his maiden after 4 tries, he got the job done right here at the Big A, his lone start at Aqueduct, against older horses. It wasn't the toughest field in the world. He took him a long time to get going. He came back in just 24 days, just about 3.5 weeks. And Todd Pletcher thought enough of him to try him in the Peter Pan off of that maiden effort. They thought this horse was going to be okay. They took him to Saratoga, and his 2 Saratoga races were on the fast side. He didn't really do a ton of running in either race. But then the wheels have just fallen off the last 2 races. They took him to Churchill Downs, thought maybe distance would be his friend. He didn't raise his hooves for the last half mile of the 1.25-mile try against Straight Allowance last time. And now he finds himself in for the 40. I would imagine they're going to shake for this horse today. You know, he doesn't really miss a beat. He had that little layoff from the Peter Pan to the allowance races, but I think the plan was to keep this horse going the 9 furlongs and around the 2 turns. And Todd has made it his business to run him around 2 turns in every one of his starts except his first start and the Peter Pan.
You saw in their moments go 3 to 5, and when you say you imagine they're going to shake for him, that means, yeah, multiple claims likely you expect to be put in for this horse right here, and they'll have a shake to see who wins getting him home to their barn after this race. Probably going to be plenty who want to try and purchase him for that $40,000 tag. Short number here, and yeah, either of those. I mean, even the last 2 races, even though it looks like he didn't run a lot, he faced a lot better company than anyone else in here has. Those might even win.
The race 2 back would win. I don't know about last time. He really did. He's tough to take at this price in the win pool. I mean, if you're playing that late pick 4, which you should be, he's obviously on your ticket.
6-horse Complete Agenda, the odds-on favorite. Pick 4 starts here. Let's go to John and Brielle.
Set for the start of race 6. And they're off from the inside. Spetro and Afjan going out for the lead as Bourbon's Hope now moves up to challenge. The field races into the clubhouse turn down at the rail. Spetro has a narrow lead. And on the outside, it is Bourbon's Hope, a close second. The front two have opened up 3 lengths on Afjan, who's in third, and then it's another 6 back to Curbstone, who runs in fourth. Complete Agenda, the big favorite, is in fifth here. Then comes Uncle Waterflow and Strong Light trails. The quarter 23-1, and they're moving up the backstretch. Spetro leads here by a half length, with Bourbon's Hope on the outside, second by 3. Afjan is in third. It's another length and a half to Curbstone, who's in fourth, and a break of 4 back to Complete Agenda. Complete Agenda still about 9 lengths off the lead. Then comes Strong Light, and farther back is Uncle Waterflow. Half mile, 48 2/5 seconds. Spetro continues to lead. The lead is 3/4 of a length with Bourbon's Hope. And now a move on the outside from Curbstone. Curbstone moves into second. A neck behind Spetro. Bourbon's Hope is back running in third. Then Afjan in fourth, followed by Complete Agenda and the gray Strong Light. Curbstone has now taken the lead from Spetro. Afjan is on the move on the outside, and that move is followed by Complete Agenda. It is Curbstone with a 3-length lead and a 1/4 mile to the finish. Afjan in second. Complete Agenda on the outside is third. As they come down for the 8th pole, it is Curbstone in front. Curbstone's got a 4-length lead. Then Afjan, and on the outside it is Complete Agenda. Curbstone trying to hang in there for another 16th, and he has got it wrapped up, and this will be the first career win for apprentice Madison Ulver.
Young Maddie Ulver, good for her. First win of her career. She heard from John Imbrial. She's ridden terrific in limited mounts so far. First time getting her picture taken.
She gave this horse a fantastic ride, too. I think a few of us thought that she'd be a little bit more aggressive. Instead, they were going fast up front, Greg. 23-1 for this caliber is fast. She was able to get Curbstone off the pace today, got aggressive when it counted, and gets the job done by daylight over the heavy favorite. She wound up going off double digits as well. You know what I like? I like the fact that she rode this horse through the wire, under the line. There wasn't any celebration or anything. She'll save the celebration for when she comes back, dismounts, and gets the job done. She's a professional young lady. To me, she's looked really good on a horse, and I think she'll be A-OK in the years to come. Congratulations. Hopefully it's the first of many for her.
That has got to feel tremendous. First of, yes, many to come in her young career. We've had the story on her and how she reached out to the Christophe Clement barn, said, I want to help you out in the mornings, exercise horses, and that led to a change of what she wanted to do in her career. Said, I want to be a jockey. I want to do this for a living. And here's the first win of this very young career, 12-1. This was a horse, too. We talked about it earlier. We were a little skeptical about because the win was on a wet track, but it was at 1.25 miles, so you knew the 1.1 miles was probably not going to be a problem.
Correct. Was the 1.1 miles going to be enough? And it was on that sloppy track. He was able to control the pace that day. That obviously wasn't happening here. They really went 23-1. They backed it down to a 25-second second quarter, and that's when Maddie started moving this horse up. And she gave this horse a good ride because she kind of sensed that they were going to come back to her. But she didn't necessarily just wait for them to come back to her. She got aggressive with them, and she turned them loose, knowing the favorite was going to come running. The favorite came with a little bit of a run. I mean, he was a little disappointing, but I don't think it would have mattered today. She was long gone with Curbstone.
3-6-2 finish, 12-1 upset to kick off the late pick 4. First win in the career of Maddie Ulver. Well, the prices when we come back. We'll get to Oaklawn for opening day coverage. 30,000 claiming race, 6 furlong sprint. This horse right here ran a number that should put him in some much tougher races. Macron missed by a neck at Keeneland. Trying to get the 5th win of his career coming up.
Whether it's Division I or Grade 1, top athletes have certain traits in common. Speed, strength, class, versatility, and most of all, willpower. Claiborne Farm Stallion, War of Will, was a Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf. Now, his first foals are taking the field. –
We're back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. It's presented where you can play it all at Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com, bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Pick 4. Big upset with that young lady to begin it. That smile is going to be there for a long time, I would expect, off the first win of young Maddie Ulver's career. And doing it with a big upset special here on Curbstone. It's the second win of Curbstone's career, $27 winner. To downstairs to Maggie.
Oh, this is such a cool interview, Maddie. I'm so excited and happy for you. Massive congratulations.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity, and I'm just so happy to be here. I feel so incredibly grateful.
Now, you had been on Curbstone in the morning, and he's a pretty cool dude, to be fair, so you had to be a little excited about getting on him today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think I got off that breeze, and I immediately told Mr. Morley that was fun. It's like, that was a fun breeze. So I just feel so grateful to ride him in the afternoon, too.
Monkey's off your back. I mean, how describe this feeling? We've been following you. You've gotten so close, including a second with a huge price in the last race. And to finally get this win here, all the dreams are coming true.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a moment, I think, in time when I never thought I'd ride a race or be able to have that opportunity. And then a moment, you know, where you're like, wow, will I ever win one? The fact to do it is I have no words. I just am speechless.
Are you ready for what's about to come in the tunnel?
I am so ready. I've been looking forward to this for forever.
Girl, go take your rite of passage, get drenched. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Maddie Oliver, such a big, big win for this young lady. And Greg, so cool that we've been following her throughout her young career so far and gets it done on a house horse.
How about that for the Tom Morley barn, too? All smiles. Screenshot that. Incredible. I'm sure our cameraman's going to follow her into this madness. The only downside of this is it is chilly here today, and she's about to get drenched.
She doesn't care. Believe me, she does not care. You see that smile? That smile started on the gallop out. It will go until she goes to bed tonight. She'll probably smile through her sleep tonight. And it was, you know what? You get on the horse in the morning, all the hard work. We all get attached to these horses. She'll never forget Curbstone. She will never, ever, ever forget Curbstone. That I can tell you.
Incredible
Curbstone
moment.
will always be one of her favorite horses.
Incredible moment here for this youngster who just really recently decided that she wanted to do this for a living.
Yeah, and I think they got the hose out of her. I mean, she's really going to get doused here today, and it is one of the greatest rites of passage of all time. If you start working on the back stretch, they'll ask you to get the saddle stretcher, the key to the quarter pole, a bucket of steam. Those are all the back stretch initiations. This is, though, one of the oldest and greatest traditions in the sport of kings.
Great moment for young Maddie Ulver, first win of her career. We were waiting and waiting. It did not take very long. She's a talented young rider.
Yeah. Listen, 10-pound apprentice, and I remember the days how this has kind of evolved a little bit. The apprentices couldn't ride on the turf. The first 2 mounts were without a crop. They were treated like how you would treat an apprentice. It's a little different now. There's a little bit more freedom to it. I think people are a little bit more accepting of it as well. And she's done a really good job. I know Joe Migliori's her agent. Our very own Richie's been helping her in the morning. And it's important to have that kind of guidance, and the acceptance helps as well. I mean, 15, 20, 25 years ago, it would have been a lot tougher for her to ride as many horses as she has, but she's hit the board so many times that has given some of these trainers confidence. So
we're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. We'll get into race 7 from New York when we return. Maddie Ulver, what a moment. First win of this 23-year-old's career. Many more to come. We'll be back right after this.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie.
McKenzie in a dominant performance. 300 Honda, 300,000. 275, medium 275,000. 75, but we get 75, 275,000. 250, Ralph now 250,000. Here, but we get $200,000.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. and offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with NyraBets.
Daredevil, returning to stud on U.S. soil. The only first crop sire to see 2 offspring win the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks and the Grade 1 Preakness Stakes in the same year. She dares the devil, taking the Kentucky Oaks and the Grade 2 Azeri Stakes, and champion Swiss Skydiver, winning the Preakness and the Grade 1 Beholder Mile Stakes. With more exciting prospects on the track and multiple 6-figure sales in the ring, Daredevil's career is just getting started, only at Lane's End.
You don't have to be a multi-millionaire to get into this game. You can have a few $1,000s and have fun with it. But with the bonds, you're actually going to win. I've had the opportunity to win multiple races. In fact, this year I won 2 times in one day, which is almost unheard of to be able to do. This is going to happen with them. You will get into the winner's circle in Saratoga. You will walk that horse in, and you will stand there, look at the crowd, and the bonds will take you there and get you into that winner's circle. And it won't cost you a lot of money.
We're back at America's Day at the Races on our live coverage here on FS2. It's brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well, muddy on the opening day of the meet out in Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn Park. Race 4, first race we'll be bringing you here on the program. $30,000 claiming sprint. 6 furlongs and the even money favorite we talked about earlier, Macron. Huge number, Paul LaDuca. He ran at Keeneland. Ran too good to get beat. He just barely got beat by a good one.
No, he really did, Greg. And he's the horse to beat. And you're not going to be able to miss him on the track. He's the big gray, the 5 in here. And if he runs his last race, everybody's running for second place. The issue that you have with Macron, he's run 2 really big races when it comes to a sheep player figures, negative numbers. And both times after that, he's kind of regressed. Now, he can still regress and maybe win this race, because when I look at some of the other competition in here, the one home base for James Gibson, who's very, very, very sharp, or excuse me, Jonas Gibson off the claim, the horse was just all over the place on the racetrack, was sweating up a little bit. The 6 in here, Magic Castle, was giving the handlers a handful, actually in the pre-race. In the post-parade, was giving Christian Torres all he can handle. It was actually being rambunctious, had to use his crop to get the horse to moving forward. So, looking into this race after looking at the horses, the 5 is going to be really tough to beat. Now, if this horse bounces a little bit and regresses, I do think the 4 cost basis looked very, very good on the racetrack. A horse that was claimed, been in some very, very good barns, Chad Brown, George Weaver, Robertino Diodoro, but this horse, since putting the blinkers back on, I thought ran a better race last time, Greg, and I think it's got a decent chance at a price, but they have to beat the 5 Macron.
Welcome to those just joining us on Bally Sports SoCal and San Diego. Those already with us on FS2. You're watching America's Day at the Races. And this is live coverage, opening day of the meet out in Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn. First race we're bringing you on the program here, this 4th 6 furlong sprint, $30,000 claiming race. And the big favorite, the 5, Macron. Odds on right now, first off the claim. Race he ran last time out would easily beat this group.
Yeah, we'll see if he bounces or regresses, if you will, from that effort. I think the one home base is going to be tough for a barn that's winning it over 25% on the year.
Vic Stauffer with the call. Here's the 4th from Oaklawn.
They're off. Bad start, home base. Not a great start for Macron. The 2 favorites are last and second to last up the backstretch. Wipe the Slate has the lead from cost basis, and Nate Sway with Flapjack at the rail. Those 4 duke it out up the backstretch with Magic Castle shoveled back into 5th. Home base is 6th, and Macron, the odds-on favorite, is at the back of the pack. So Flapjack has the lead at the half-mile pole. It's a length in front of Cost Basis, who's about to move to a clear-cut second, with Nate's Way backing out third. Macron is about to take third, and here's Macron, now up into third and about 4 from the front. He's 2 in front of Wipe the Slate and Home Base, and the trailer is Magic Castle, and the leader, doing it well, is Flapjack. It's Flapjack at the top of the stretch, a 3.5 length lead. Macron has the final quarter to try to run him down. Looks like the only one that can. Flapjack to the final furlong with a 3-length lead. Macron is going to have to give it his all to run him down. He is inching up in second, and Flapjack leads still by 3. Flapjack is in front. Macron not making enough of an impact, and Flapjack is going to run off to a big win. Macron second best, then Cost Basis. Flapjack in front. Flapjack won by 6 or 7, maybe more than that, maybe 8 in the end. Macron is second. Very close for third between Magic Castle and Cost Basis.
Flapjack, much the best here in the 4th at Oaklawn. You heard early on, too, the 2 favorites, including Macron, way back of the pack early on. Macron's a horse who typically likes to be more forward.
Yeah, Home Base got the worst of it at the start. He kind of threw his head and jumped, leaving out of there. Macron did not get away that cleanly, but truth be told, he had a pretty good setup and pretty good trip. He had 5 horses lined up across the track for the first 1/8 of a mile. 3 of them were left through the first 3/8 of a mile, and Flapjack just kept on going. Isaac Castillo virtually gate to wire.
All right, so upset there, 4th at Oaklawn. He loved that mud this afternoon. 5-year-old by Oxbow, former Preakness winner for our colleague Gary Stevens. We'll have those prices coming up for you in a moment. Back to New York. Race 7 is next. We talked about it earlier, races 7 and 8, both these two very intriguing races on the card today. This Fillies and Maris going 6 furlongs, first allowance condition. There's just big question marks with a couple of them in here, including this one here, the 5. Speaks for itself. She was huge first time out for Chad Brown-Klarovich back in April. Came back November 13th, 1-5 favorite, and she was not the same filly at all.
You want to talk about chili on the board right now, Greg. Dead as disco, as I like to say. 4-1 right now. If you knew definitively that she was going to run this race, at least if I knew she was going to run this race, my Naira Bets account would be emptied out onto her. But she ran so poorly last time, and she's really the enigma in here. Because if she runs that race, the race 100% goes through her. If she runs her return race, based off her maiden win, she's the first toss in the race. But you just don't know who's going to show up. I think it's a good sign. Maybe Maggie can help us with this, how she looks out there. I think it's a good sign they did not skip one of these other ends with her. This is the next one that came up after the last one. I think it's a good sign.
4-1 on Speaks for Itself. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, I could definitely interpret her being in this spot as a good sign. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't in the paddock for her return race, which subsequently led to that poor effort in which she was tracking behind the speed that day of Violent Vixen and just stopped. I mean, you don't usually see horses at 1-5 for this barn do that, but they come right back at it with her. And like I said, I'm at a disadvantage because I don't know what she looked like last time. She looks fine here. She looks fit, defined. She could look a touch better in her coat if I'm splitting hairs with her. But, you know, and sometimes a dull kind of coat does indicate a horse who may at times struggle with bleeding, but I don't think that's the issue, given the fact that she's right back at it here a month later. So we'll see what she does. I'm not her biggest fan, and I just don't trust her, but who else are you going to trust in here? Are you going to trust number 7, Pharaoh's Heart, as she comes in here? Kind of an interesting play in that when you look at who has owned her throughout her career, you look at her sales history, it's not listed in the form, but at this past July at the Fasig-Tipton Horses of Racing Age sale, she sold for $35,000 to current owner Tom McCrocklin. But Tom McCrocklin actually bought her for $135,000 as a yearling for previous connections. So the guy who bought her for somebody else said, well, I'm going to take her because I like her that much. When when she's offered up for a fraction of her original value as a yearling. Now, I did get to see her two-back at Oaklawn, in which I know that Darren Fleming, Steve Asmussen's assistant out there, he was on her head. She can be a bad actor, and it was on display here today in the Aqueduct paddock. She didn't want to let them get the tack on. Then they finally got it on with the pony and at a walk. But she's even gotten bigger since I saw her back in the springtime. She's filled out, gotten stronger. She looks pretty fit here. Now, the front reps do go on for Michelle, but Michelle does tend to run a lot of her horses in that piece of equipment, so to speak. The problem with her, though, is that I don't think she likes being inside. She doesn't like being inside the gate because she's a big filly. I think she gets a bit claustrophobic. So the fact that she's drawn more outside, Greg, I think gives her a better chance in here. And hopefully, Jose Lescano does not allow her to take herself out of it too much. I think she does her best running when kept forward.
Here's Pharaoh's Heart. So Jose Lescano getting a leg up. I mean, she has shown huge ability, including winning in her debut. We'll get more on her coming up in a moment. Let's start with Desert Dalliance, who two-back. She was a winner at Parks.
Third start off a layoff, got the job done at Parks. Ran pretty well last time in the Speaks for Itself race when she was able to help the non-bridge jumpers in the show pool.
Firing Carol, big price. She ran very good, though, two-back, missed by a half length against Snicket.
Yeah, you never really know what she's going to get. She's just 1 for 17, 0 for 9 here at the Big A.
To a T with a big number two-back. She cuts back to sprinting, what she was doing that day.
Barn not going well right now. She always comes with a big run, seems, in the sprint races. We'll see if the cutback helps.
Lilu, 7-2, JK's best bet. Kendra Carmouche aboard.
I know you like her as well. She probably does her best running when she's just off the lead or on it. We'll see what kind of tactics Kendrick uses today.
Speaks for itself, that brilliant debut winner. Second off the bench for Chad Brown. Here's Lady Milagro, the speed.
Don't know which Speaks for Itself shows up. We know one thing. Lady Milagro will be on the front end. She's one of the fastest horses on the ground.
Pharaoh's Heart, with her talent, it's surprising she has only one win to her credit.
Yeah, I liked her when she was a little bit of a bigger price on the morning line. She's taking all the money in here. It's probably a good sign.
20-1. Blinkers going on Rubies in time.
Yeah. David Jacobson puts Bug Boy Jason Huayas aboard. Good second last time against Statebreds, and Funny How has some future.
10-1. Runaway Rocket moves by. It was his second race taken off the turf at this condition, and then chasing Kara on the outside. Dylan Davis at a big price.
Runaway Rocket looks to give the Morley barn back-to-back wins. Chasing Kara didn't run that well last time out when the favorite didn't show up. Does have a good third-place finish. Two-back. We'll see what kind of price. She's a big price at 22-1.
Want to remind everyone playing, you could get a 10% bonus on all your winning trifectas today at Aqueduct when you bet with Naira Bets. Bonus available to new and existing players. No minimum bet. You do have to opt in, so go to NairaBets.com. Get a little money back on your winning trifectas today at Aqueduct. So 3 minutes to post here in the 7th. JK, you talked earlier about your best bet, and now Lilu has become the favorite.
Yeah, I think that was probably likely to happen. I feel like she's just got an edge on these horses from a pace figure standpoint and also from a speed figure standpoint. And I heard Anthony mention that he feels like the 6 Lady Milagro will likely be on the lead in here, and that's entirely possible. But when I'm trying to identify what I think is going to happen from a pace standpoint, one of the things I like to try to do is look who the rider is and look where they're drawn compared to the other speed. I just don't see a situation in which Kendrick's going to take back with Lilu. Drawn inside of the 6 Lady Milagro. Now, maybe if she was drawn outside, you could see that situation. She pops away from there, sits off of the opposition. But I think being drawn inside, there's kind of only one way to go. And when you have a rider like Kendrick, who's definitely not allergic to the lead, I would think that there'll be an opportunity for this horse to be forward. Their pace figures are very similar. So, a little friendly wager. I think Lilu will be on the front end rather than the 6 Lady Milagro drawn outside of her. And then the other horse in here that I think is the main competition, and the tote board suggests that the same way, is the 7 Pharaoh's Heart. Pharaoh's Heart had some big races back with Mark Latt when she was on the West Coast, and then she just hasn't really kind of shown up and run those races again. She kind of comes from out of it a little bit lately she's kind of seemed to lost a step that she used to have out in California. And although she's very competitive from a speed figure standpoint, I just don't like the fact that she's going to be coming from out of it when the horse that I do like will likely be on the front end or at least sitting second. So at similar prices, give me the 4 Lilu, and she'll remain my best bet of the day.
And that price getting even shorter on Lilu, the 4, down to 2-1. That was Pharaoh's Heart that just left our screen. Again, look, she broke her maiden first time out on the West Coast as she had just turned 4. There she is with a 90 by her speed figure. And then she faced 2 really good ones. Crystal Ball, as time goes by, and was very competitive against Crystal Ball, who we saw win a stake at Saratoga. She's just had a little bit of bad luck when she came back off the bench and faced Jewel for Cadence. She went to her knees out of the gate, but then she has regressed a little bit her next couple of starts.
I didn't like anything about her trip last time out, and I'm hoping that the freshening. I mean, look, she didn't debut till she was 4, so obviously she's had some problems staying on the track. I like the backstory Maggie gave, and I like Pharaoh's Heart today.
Let's go to Maggie for more on Lilu.
Yeah, Lilu, look, she looks great. Dave Duggan's horses do tend to. I have no problems with her, but I do want to get back to Pharaoh's Heart. She's going to be my pick in here. I love the warm-up that Jose Lascano gave her. Big warm-up, kept her moving, and I am of the mind that this filly really does not like being down on the inside, which she was and blocked last time, so I'm giving her a free pass for that poor effort at Churchill. Greg.
She went to the bench there at June 2nd, too, so maybe some sort of physical issue. Well, I haven't seen her since that time, but it looks like Sharp at least coming back. She had a bullet drill in prep for this December 3rd, Belmont Training Track, 7-2. But Lilu, heavy favorite here at 2-1. It's a 7th from Aqueduct. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial, the call.
Waiting for the final 2 horses to go in. Number 5 Speaks for Itself, and the 10 Chasing Cara. Field of 10, about to go 6 furlongs here at Aqueduct in race number 7. Speaks for Itself goes in nicely, and Chasing Cara will now complete the field. Chasing Cara steps in. We're set for the start. And they're off. Rubies in Time is going out for the lead. And right there and moving up is Lady Milagro. Lady Milagro, narrow lead over Rubies in Time, with Lilu down at the rail and racing in 3rd. From the far outside, it is Chasing Cara. Next in 4th, Speaks for Itself is in 5th. Then Runaway Rocket in 6th. Desert Dalliance down at the rail runs in 7th. Passed there by 2 a T. And moving up a spot is the gray Pharaoh's Heart. The trailer is Firing Carol in 10th. Up front, Lady Milagro and Rubies in Time. 2 long shots right together as Lilu now gains ground from 3rd, and Chasing Cara's on the far outside. Pharaoh's Heart, the gray, will be widest of all coming into the stretch. The quarter 22-4, the half mile 46-4. It is Lilu now to grab the lead from Rubies in Time. Chasing Cara moves to 3rd. Runaway Rocket is down at the rail. Pharaoh's Heart out in the middle of the track, and then Firing Carol. It is Lilu in front now by 3. Then Rubies in Time and Pharaoh's Heart. Lilu strolls home, a 4.5 length winner. Rubies in Time was 2nd, and Pharaoh's Heart checked in 3rd.
Lilu with the win. You look at all her wins prior. That's the 4th win of her career. She sat off the pace in all of them.
Yeah. As expected, Lady Milagro went to the front in here. Rubies in Time ran a big race. She's a filly that used to have an awful lot of speed. And Kendrick used his head. He took off, especially when Rubies in Time goes and puts the pressure on Lady Milagro. He's able to just trip out. He sat a perfect trip in 3rd, tipped when he needed to get the running done. Rubies in Time ran a bang-up 2nd in here. Survives the speed duel. The other part of the speed duel's long gone at the quarter pole. She holds off Pharaoh's Heart. Boy, Maggie had this grave mare to a T. Cannot let her get too far out of the race. She got a little kickback. She dropped all the way back to last. Came with a big run. Keep an eye on her next time. Maybe a little bit more ground for her as well. But boy, you and Jonathan like the winner, and Maggie, it was almost like Maggie was able to see what was going to happen with Pharaoh's Heart, and that's exactly what happened as she checks in 3rd.
4-8-7-2. Lilu as the favorite. Picks up the 4th win of her career in 9 starts, dropping out of Stakes Company against New York breds. and looks impressive in this victory. We're going to take a timeout. Still to come on the program, one of the fastest 2-year-olds in the country. 5 wins and 5 tries on dirt by a combined 57 3/4 lengths. Tyler's Tribe putting that perfect dirt record on the line in the Advent when we come back from Oaklawn.
Sire Sensation Gunrunner is the sire of 6 first crop Grade 1 winners.
God-eyed, and he's going to win the hopeful.
Red Zulu wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and Cyberknife has won the Haskell.
Society is going to win the Cotillion, and Tama, they win the Bathurst, Pennsylvania Derby.
Early voting comes inside and wins it. He wins the Preakness.
Horse of the Year, Gunrunner, standing at 3 Chimneys.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS2, regional networks out in Southern California. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by the champion sprinter Run Happy, now standing legendary stall number 1 at Claiborne Farm. Lilu was on her game today. She has won 3 of her last 4 starts. David Duggan, Kendra Carmouche, and Kingsport Farm winning connections.
Yeah, she's in really good form right now. And like you said, her prior wins had come from just off. She was just off the pace again today, and good job by Kendrick. You know, he had a call a little bit of an audible, I would think, in here. I thought the plan would be for him to sit off of Lady Milagro. But Ruby's in time, and this, you know, we saw Maddie Oliver win her first race, last race. Jason Hueyas, he's made a little bit of an impact here as well. He's won a race. He's good. He gave Ruby's in time. This is a mare that used to be, she would have been the clear-cut speed of the race. He went and found some of her speed, and she runs a bang-up second at a big price. Nice little colony here. Nice few up-and-comers in this colony, my friend.
4-8-7 finish in that 7th from New York as we take a late pick 5 follow-along. The big number that stands out, obviously Curbstone, beating a heavy odds-on favorite, not just a $27 horse, beating an odds-on favorite in the process.
This is Lilu was one of the favorites on the morning line, but this was certainly not a race I think a lot of people leaned. I know JK liked this horse a lot, the best bet of the day. You liked this horse, but I don't think a lot of people were leaning on anyone in particular in this race. Curbstone probably doesn't play as big of as a 12-to-1 shot in the pick 5. But this horse certainly doesn't play as short as a 2-to-1 shot. So nice little sequence if you're alive.
We're gonna take a break. When we come back, late pick 5 from Hot Springs on opening day at Oaklawn. Sequence begins with a non-winners at 2 lifetime claiming sprint at 6 furlongs. We'll talk through the field when we come back. Stay with us.
The Run Happies are hot, hot, hot with his 2-year-olds burning up the track. Recent top runners include this growing list of winners at Churchill Downs. plus the speedy 2-year-old colt, Happy is a Choice, a 5-length maiden winner at Keeneland.
Happy is a Choice, Francisco Arrieta to win it.
Price for value and turning up the heat. Call today and book your mare to Eclipse Champion Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
History remembers moments of extraordinary strength, skill, and determination. True greatness is forged by those who fulfill their destiny.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2, Valley SoCal in San Diego. Brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Muddy going on opening day at Oaklawn Park. Lake Pig 5 coming up in this race here. $10,000 claiming tag, so they're all for sale for that price. Horses who've not won 2 lifetime, going 6 furlongs in likely the speed of the field is the favorite right now, the 7.
I like a horse in here. I'll give it to you in a minute.
All right, let's start with Serbian Sailor coming in from Remington.
Cuts back from a bunch of mile and 7 furlong races to a 3/4 mile. This is the first time just once in 11 starts around 1 turn.
Romancer, winningest trainer in North American history. Steve Asmussen sends out.
Cuts in half. Isaac Castillo looks for another win on the card today.
They started to be a good team at this meet last year.
They did.
See Spot Run at 26-1.
Another one cutting back in distance. The source tried the 20,002 life level at Keeneland to no avail.
Wesley in big number, 21-1.
Yeah, off a bunch of off-the-board finishes. Finished second back in Prairie Meadows and put up via DQ back in June.
5 a scratch. Here's my Noah for William Martin.
Yeah, another one. We haven't seen this one since September at Prairie Meadows. First start over the local surface.
Decent appearance. The favorite is quick, drops down in class as well.
Ships down, cuts in half, gets one of the leading riders from last meet in David Cabrera. Your 9-5 favorite currently, co-favorite.
Here's a Run Happy, Run Quietly, who just broke his maiden at Horseshoe Indy.
Yeah, he's only had a few chances sprinting. He got the job done last time at 3-1. We'll see what Travis Wales can do for Ingrid Mason.
20-1 on Super Geek.
Haven't seen him since the last Oaklawn meet. Comes in for a barn that's winning at 8% with a 7-pound bug rider.
Risky Situation comes in from Canterbury. He's going to cut back in distance.
Got the job done in the 23rd lifetime start. Only try against winners, was not very good.
Skyline, only win for this horse, actually came on the turf sprinting.
Yeah, I like this horse today. I think this horse is going to love a wet track, cutting back, draws outside. Lots to like, especially the price.
And now favoritism going outside to the 12 Colspur.
Yeah, coming in off of a voided claim for Ron Moquette, who's literally in his front yard right now. Ron's house is on the backstretch by the 3/4 pole. It's pretty impressive. We'll see if Colspur can come back to the races and get the job done as the second choice right now.
All right, Paul LaDuca, is it as easy as get to the front with David Cabrera and Lansdowne and go gate to wire?
Well, it could be, Greg. You know, when I looked at this race, I thought there was, 2 or 3 to 4 horses in this race. The 7, the 12, and I gave the 2 and the 11 the other looks in here. When you look at the 7 Lansdowne, you make a great point. This is a horse that can get to the front end. Now, the racetrack has played pretty fair today. We've had a couple horses. Ron Wilquette actually had a horse go gate to wire actually in the first race, or a tiny bit off the pace. But then Joe Sharp had a first-time starter, the mile distance, get left in the gate and circled the field. So the racetrack is playing fair. So I would think Dana Cabrera is going to send Lansdowne, and they get to the front end in here. Now the 12, the other horse in here, the 7 and the 12 are the lowest will pays in your pick fives right now, in the early pick five. Now we're starting the late pick five. The 12 figures in here. I mean, I just think that it's a horse that right now, I think it's 2-1 as we speak. Is that too short of a price on Cole Spur? Well, remains to be seen. I get it. This horse has been voided claim a couple times, but I do like this horse. Hasn't been seen since a long time, and Ron's given this horse a little bit of time. Good work's coming in. I think the 12 is going to make a really good impression. Get to the 11, and, you know, this is the horse that Anthony likes. Cannot complain. This horse has gotten to the front of some, you know, pretty good fields. 1 for 13 lifetime, is 0 for 4 over the racetrack. I thought my other horse in here, to be honest with you guys, was the 2 horse in here, Romancer. You know, when you look, the last race against Lansdowne, this horse was 3.5-1. Did not have a good beginning. The start before that was your favorite from the 6 hole, and that was getting back onto the dirt. Isaac Castillo ready with the winner on the card. So to get out of this race in the pick 5, do you go 7-12? Do you go 4 deep? I ended up going 7-12. And then who do you single? Because in, you know, Tyler's Tribe, do you touch Tyler's Tribe at 3-5? And then Ron Wilquette has a first-time starter, or not a first-time starter, a horse that's run 5 times in the last race with 5 second-place finishes, and a horse that's going to be even money on the morning line. So you got to make a couple decisions. You got a 3-5 shot and an even money shot the last 2 races of this sequence, Greg.
Yeah, it's patterned bet in that last race, the 2, that it's, oh, what do you do with that filly? 5 starts, 5 seconds, becoming a pattern where second, though, one of those 5 races was a stakes race at Oaklawn.
You know me and the, you know how I feel about the seconditis. I mean, you're not leaving her out of a pick. She's even money. She's even money more. I remember the first time she ran last winter, she was flying. And you said to yourself, well, she'll get out of the maiden ranks next time out. 4-5, 1-2, 5-2, 3-5. Wow.
Yeah, not one you want to probably lean too heavily on. Meanwhile, this race will kick off the sequence. D. Wayne Lucas with the favorite. There he is. Lansdowne, and it just looks like he is the quickest in this group. Quick against better as well. He should be, I would think, potentially alone in front here if he breaks clean, and he'd be very tough if that's the case. You know, obviously muddy track throws a whole different wrench into things. Who's going to like it? We will find out shortly.
7-11. Super Saver, sire of Lansdowne, of course, won the Kentucky Derby back in 2010 on a wet track. Skyline Street Sense, his sire out of an unbridled song mare, shouldn't have any problem there. 7-11. I mean, could it be that simple? For you dice players out there, I bet yo 11.
Good luck. 6-5 favoritism here with the one who should be in front, and you know that 12 continuing to take steady money in here. At 2-1 from that far outside post. Was just third at Remington for 7,500 non-winners of 2. That is a low level.
Yeah, and the claim was voided. 2 of the last 3 races, this horse's claim has been voided. So I'm always a little apprehensive taking a short price on those horses.
Now, Paul mentioned Romancer the 2. He was going to throw in 6-1 on that runner who's coming out of that tougher race that Lansdowne was in. Actually got bumped at the beginning of that race a little bit and then never really got involved. We'll see with a better beginning. Maybe things can go a little different for Romancer today.
And we've already seen Isaac Castillo take one virtually gate to wire, so you know getting out of the gate might not be the toughest thing for him to do today. He lost all chance really last time. I can see Paul's angle there, and he's a square enough price. I think he was 6-1 when they last showed us the tote board.
Would not be trying to beat Tyler's Tribe, though, part of this sequence.
No, I mean, he's the proverbial free bingo squad this afternoon. Getting back to dirt, I mean, he's just faster than those horses. And that if you feel that way, Greg, it allows you to get a little creative in some of the lower level races like this.
Reportedly training even faster in the morning in a couple of workouts at Oaklawn than he usually does. So Muddy track today, a little bit different scenario, but seems to like it so far in a short stay at Oaklawn. That's coming up in the feature in the Advent. Part of the late pick 5 that starts here. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
Last horse to load, Cole Spur. They're at the post. They're off. Good start for Wesleyan and Lansdowne. Risky situation. Cole Spur and Skyline are close up. My Noah and At the Rail Serbian Sailor. Then C-Spot Run, followed by Romancer and Run Quietly. And the trailer is Super Geek. Lansdowne between horses. Wesleyan at the rail and Cole Spur 3 wide. Wesleyan a neck in front. My Noah races in fourth and 2 off the lead, 2 in front of Skyline and Risky Situation. Run Quietly is midfield with about 7 to make up, a length in front of Serbian Sailor. Romancer has 10 to close. He's a length in front of C-Spot Run, and Super Geek is the trailer, and the leader is Wesleyan. Wesleyan to the quarter pole, just ahead in front of Lansdowne, who is now inching closer in second. Here's the favorite, Lansdowne, with every chance. Cole Spur is third. He's only a length from the lead. My Noah is fourth, top of the stretch, and now Wesleyan is confronted by Lansdowne and a 3-wide Cole Spur, and Wesleyan is now in front by a full length and a half, and Lansdowne is not going to get it. It is Wesleyan in front. Cole Spur up into second. He's the one with a chance to run down Wesleyan. Wesleyan reaches. Cole Spur attacks, getting closer. Wesleyan, Cole Spur. It is Wesleyan in front. Wesleyan beat Cole Spur. Lansdowne was third. My Noah finished fourth.
Wesleyan able to hang on, hard charging Cole Spur to the outside, getting to him with every step. But this long shot able to get the lead actually over Lansdowne and get the win.
So maybe, just maybe, Mr. Wolf, Timothy Martin and Kylie Jordan teaming up with Tyler's Tribe later on today allowed you to spread in here to come up with Kylie Jordan and Timothy Martin at 30 to 1.
Wow.
Gate to wire. We saw this last winter. When this track got some moisture, inside speed was tough. Lansdowne never gets in front of this horse today, and this horse is able to keep on ticking to the wire. Big effort, good ride, maybe a little bit of foreshadowing for Tyler's Tribe. He might be a slightly shorter price, though, later on today.
I would think so. 4-12, looked like the 7, Lansdowne, the favorite, wound up getting third. We'll make that official coming up. Here's Amundsen, the old veteran on this circuit, 9-time winner. He is 4 for 6 at Aqueduct, and he's in the best form of his career as a 6-year-old right now, coming in off back-to-back wins, where he has led every step of the way in both those 2 races.
2 of the 3 fastest figs of his career, including the fastest right here. Wire to wire. Now, the 6.5 furlongs, he wins by a neck. The 6 furlongs, he wins by a length. He's going to be asked to handle a 7th furlong. He has yet to do it successfully, but he earned the 2nd fastest figure of his career going 7 furlongs. It was a while ago. It was a little over 2 years ago. He's in good form. The barn has been in raging form. He's supposed to get in front of these horses. There's another horse in here with plenty of speed that's a need-the-lead type, if you will, the number 3 Fire Sword. I know a horse you were interested in. We'll see if they hit up front. If they do hit up front, I think there's an interesting alternative in here, and it's not the 2-1 co-favorite.
There's Kidder Carmouche and those fluorescent orange silks on Amundsen. He was aboard that gate-to-wire win last time out. You know, when he's on a horse with speed, he takes advantage of it. He's aggressive. That other horse with pace, it's the 3 Fire Sword. 5 wins. All 5 of his wins have come when he's been in front. So you would expect Cadet should say, we have to get the lead. That might be a tall order, though, against Amundsen.
I just don't know if he's fast enough. I don't think he's fast enough. We'll see, though. Manny Franco. You know, it's Manny Franco and Kendrick Carmouche, 2 of the more aggressive riders we have. So, I would imagine Amundsen's in front.
Here's Arthur's Hope to kick off the post parade. Comes in from Parks.
Yeah, New York bred, running against Open Company. And here his last 3 races have not been very good, but he did get the job done back at Colonial in July.
14-time winner in the past. This horse interesting. Senior investment going to cut back in distance for Scott Lake.
Your 3rd place 2016 Preakness finisher. How about that one? He's hit the board in 2 of 3 here, and he'll go to 7/8 today, where he's hit the board in all 3 tries.
Fire Sword, he's 2 for 2 at 7/8.
Yeah, he is 2 for 2 going 7 furlongs. At edge over Amundsen. We'll see if he can get to the top. He cuts back from a mile try against Baby Yoda.
Synthesis went by for David Jacobson. Here's Amundsen.
Yeah, Synthesis is a horse some people like today. Amundsen 4 for 6 at Aqueduct, in great form. Linda Rice looking to keep that hot barn going.
Davis on Jalen. Journey went by, 3-time winner for 5 starts at 7/8. And here's Market Alert.
He actually cuts back Jalen Journey from 2 turns at Charlestown to 1 turn here. I think Market Alert makes the most sense if you think there's a speed duel in here. He has enough tactical speed going long to not be too far from things. If you think it's going to collapse, he should be one of the first ones to be able to come calling. And I'll tell you this, the barn has had success off the claim from the prior barn in the past with Mr. Phil, to be specific. He took him off a very similar kind of form and turned him into a bit of a stakes runner. I think Market Alert is the alternative here to the favorites.
Favorite, it's Amundsen, who Maggie has a lot of fans on this circuit. He's been around for some time. He's 4 for 6 here at Aqueduct. We'll see if he can do it again.
Got a lot of venerable veterans in this field. Greg, I like Amundsen. I have no problems with him, but looks like Magny, we're on the same wavelength, as I'll get to number 7, Market Alert, in a moment, because Anthony pretty much just said everything I was going to say about him, too. But let's take a look at Arthur's Hope. Cool horse, right? Remember Marco Salazar won a race up here the other day, and I was trying for the life of me to remember the name of this horse. I was like, the horse that the New York bred that started his career in Panama. Needless to say, here he is. And he's been running out of town against some decent fields. You know, Smooth B, he's definitely no slouch. And he looks very good here overall, coming in from out of town, from the Mid-Atlantic. And just a cool horse that has done well here. But I do think he is one that kind of more or less, I don't want to say needs the lead per se, but does do his best running one up front. And last time out, he kind of got checked slightly when coming out of the 6.5 furlong chute, and he just had too much to do. He ran on while in the stretch, but on his wrong lead. We'll see what kind of trip he can work out from the rail. He's a generous price of 15 to 1. Senior Investment's pretty interesting too, I think, if you think that the pace could come apart, and he could be the one picking up the pieces. I was suspect of him getting a mile and 3/16 last time, though he did run well in defeat behind Unbridled Bomber, who's in raging form right now, and he looks fantastic. He's just built like a horse that wants less ground. So it's a sharp kind of turn back from the mile and 3/16 to the 7, but for me, it makes a lot of sense with him. But let's talk about Market Alert. He can be a little bit of a goofball as he goes first off the claim here for Rob Atras. He's one that has held up races for refusing to walk out of the tunnel at Belmont. It doesn't seem to bother him as much coming up the ramp here at Aqueduct, and he got onto the track without any problems today for Rob Atras. But again, Anthony's right. Jimmy Harrison can be tough to claim off of, but in the past, Rob has shown that he can get it done. And this guy looks better than ever. Today, just his coat's good. He's moving well out there. And I think he does sit the right kind of trip. But JK, I know you are interested in the horse that could very well be the speed of the speed. Can Amundsen see it out, the 7?
Well, you know, I think you ask a great question. The one thing I know about Amundsen is that, you know, he's run 23 times. Of those 23 times, you know, he's shown a ton within those 23 times that he has toughness. He's tough. He can get kind of hooked in a duel. He can be stuck down on the inside and prevail, which is to me, in a duel, is the hardest place to win from, is the inside. So I know that about him. I know that he's tough. But I learned something in his last 2 starts. He's getting better. He's faster. We knew he was tough, and he was running 80s, 90s type numbers. Now he's running high 90s in the speed figure situation. So you tie in his toughness with what looks to be an improved horse, drawn outside of his main competition from a speed pace standpoint. I really like him in here, and hopefully I can close up this double with Lilu in the last race.
All right, loading up. Thanks, JK. Amundsen 7 to 5 favorite, trying to do something he's never been able to do before. Win at 7/8 of a mile, but he is in raging form. That 3 horse you briefly saw there, the one who was expected to try and challenge him for the front end. Horse who's sort of on the rise here, this 4-year-old for David Donk, second off the claim.
And there are some people who think, Synthesis, we'll see, Fire Sword. And we'll see if Synthesis can take advantage of a pace duel. You know, some people believe that getting the 7 is actually easier than the 6. A horse like Amundsen, though, has already shown you he's had trouble getting the 7, but like JK said, he is in a different kind of form right now. I don't think he's ever run races back-to-back like he has in his last 2.
Market Alert, last to load from the outside. Rob Atras, first off the claim. There he is with Jorge Vargas Jr. Amundsen, the 5, trying to make it 3 straight. As we go upstairs to John Embrial for the call.
Field of 7 set to go. 7 furlongs. Market alert, now moving into line. And we're ready to go. And they're off. And there goes Amundsen out for the early lead with Market Alert on the outside, and Fire Sword now quickly moves up down at the rail. Fire Sword up to challenge Amundsen for the lead. Market Alert sits off of them in third. And then it's a break of 2.5 lengths back to Synthesis, who's running in fourth, followed by Jalen Journey in fifth. The trailers are Senior Investment and Arthur's Hope. Fire Sword narrowly. Amundsen, the favorite, right alongside in second through a quarter in 23 seconds. Market Alert is right there in third as the field heads for the far turn. Fire Sword with a half-length lead over Amundsen. And Market Alert is running in third with Synthesis next in fourth. Big break back to Senior Investment, who has now moved into fifth, followed by Arthur's Hope in sixth. Jalen Journey is the trailer. They're coming for the top of the stretch. There goes Amundsen now to take the lead from Fire Sword. It is Amundsen in front with Synthesis on the far outside. Then Market Alert, Fire Sword has dropped back. They're moving for the furlong marker. Amundsen has the lead. Synthesis moves up on the outside into second. And Market Alert is next in third. It is Amundsen and Synthesis. Synthesis with a narrow lead as they come on for the finish. Amundsen right there. Synthesis is the winner. Amundsen was second, and Market Alert finished third.
Synthesis getting by Amundsen here. David Jacobson, a horse coming out of the Grade 3 Fall Highway. Let's take another look at the stretch.
I would not be surprised here, Greg, if there's a claim of foul and if there's a little bit of a, maybe even a steward's inquiry. It looked to me like there was some contact. I'd love to see the head-on between Synthesis, who looked like he was coming in a little bit, and the number 7, Market Alert. It looked like he was coming in. You see Jorge Vargas, he's not really able to completely extend and push on Market Alert. See if it's a little bit of a better angle here. See them come in there. It looked like, it certainly looked like they bumped right there, and it certainly looks like Synthesis continues to drift in, to bear in. Let's see if the stewards are going to take a look at this. Looked like it got a little tight in there. Okay, let's take a look at the head-on now. You'll see Synthesis in the red hat on the outside, Market Alert in the pink cap. They make a little contact there, and we'll see if Synthesis continues to bear in. Yeah, that was probably just some incidental contact there. They absolutely brushed, but I think maybe Market Alert was just a little uncomfortable in those tight-ish quarters between the winner and second place finisher.
4, 5, 7, 2. Synthesis 3-1. Again, coming out of that Grade 3 Fall Highway. Rolling by Amundsen, who winds up second in this spot. Javier Castellano for David Jacobson, son of first namer, a 6-year-old. A couple of veterans here, first and second. 3-1 on Synthesis. Prices when we come back. Feature race in the books. Nightcap still to come. Plenty more from Oaklawn ahead as well. Stay with us.
Warfront. On the racetrack, his accomplishments included this victory in the Vanderbilt at Saratoga.
It will be Warfront to win it by 2.5 lengths.
Now this son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires. With over 100 stakes winners, Warfront's progeny includes some of the world's most talented runners, both at home and abroad. Ranked number 1 by percentage of lifetime stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and Grade 1 winners. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2, regional networks in Southern California. It's brought to you where you can play it all. And now we're bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Go to NowRebets.com. Feature in the books, and it's Synthesis. Javier Castellano, the resurgent former four-time Eclipse Award-winning rider.
What a
riding
year
for David Jacobson here.
What a year for him. Closing in on 160
Comeback
wins
rider
for
of the year.
Oh, if there was an award for that, he would have had this thing cinched up in August.
Terrific Saratoga. It has continued through to the end. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
He's making me laugh. He's making fun of Tom with Curbstone, saying, Javier who? Oh, Maddie Oliver. No, I'm kidding.
Good for her.
Well, talk a little bit about, you're the veteran of the room, but these younger jockeys coming up, especially Maddie, a young lady, she really has a good head on her shoulders.
Absolutely, I love to see that. She's a wonderful lady. She's beautiful. She does everything the right way. She like to learn it. She asks a lot of questions for everybody, for myself. John Velázquez was here last Saturday. He spoke to him, and I think, he's that kind of person. She wants to do better and better. And a lot of your riders we have, and be proud because those jockeys, they want to learn. They ask a question. They watch a replay. They want to make a progress. I'm glad to see that.
Now be honest, do you like being a mentor to the younger guys?
Absolutely. I like to teach a little bit, but I don't like to be me, but I like to teach. You can teach it too much because they beat you. They learn it too quick. No, but it's good. I like to, give a good sample and try to do it the right way because when I grew up, I didn't have the opportunity. People, they tell me what to do, and I always ask a question. I didn't have that feedback. I mean, years go by. Now I see a lot of new generation. We try to do the best example for them. And hopefully they can do the right thing and move forward.
It's great to have guys like you kind of seeing them over in the room. Let's talk a little bit about Synthesis, though. Timed it perfectly today, Javi. Seemed like everybody kind of took a shot at Amundsen, and Synthesis was the one who saw it through.
Absolutely, Maggie. I like the way the horse he run. A lot of speed in the race. I can see they put a good pace. The first quarter mile, 23, actually 46, they pick it up quick. Even number, they go quite quick, and I able to cover up the horse and save all the ground a little bit, step up outside and go to finish. I like the way he finished. I like the way he galloping now. I'm very satisfied the way he did it today. I think it was a perfect race for him.
Javi, congratulations on a nice win here with Synthesis.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, Javier Castellano, only 3 back, Greg. Or no, now 2 back in the wins behind Kendrick Carmouche. We'll see. Can he make it a tight race in the jockey standings, too?
Just an absolutely terrific year. Great story to see him back. A man who, at one point, won 4 consecutive years the Eclipse Award for Outstanding Rider.
He's one of the best we've seen on this circuit in the last 25 years. And you heard Javier mention it. It's gotten tougher. In the last 10 to 12 years alone, the Ortiz brothers, Joel Rosario, Kendrick's joined the room. Dylan Davis has become, a bit of a household name now. This colony's gotten tougher. He's also had a deal with John Velázquez. He mentioned Johnny, who's one of his best friends off the track. He's had a deal with Johnny for 25 years. The room has gotten tougher, and for these guys, there was a time when Javier came here and Edgar Prado and Jerry Bailey were the old guard. Well, now he's the old guard, and he has the Ortiz brothers and these guys chomping at the bit and, right on his heels. It's an unbelievable, we talked about comeback rider of the year. It's one of the best comebacks in sports I've seen in quite some time. Yeah. He's won 160 races on the toughest circuits in the country.
And great to hear, too, that now he's acting and relishing that role as being a mentor to some of these young up-and-coming riders like Maddie Oliver, we saw get her first career win earlier on the card. Late Pick 5 follow-along. Maddie Oliver's big win is the one that stands out here in this Pick 5. Curbstone, $27 winner, beating an odds-on favorite, a Todd Pletcher odds-on favorite. Going to make that play even bigger probably as we get into this final leg of the sequence coming up.
I'll tell you what. They're all paying $800 or more because I don't think Curbstone paid that high. I'll tell you what else I've been looking at today. Take a look at these exacta pools on your Naira Bets account, folks. The Synthesis Amundsen exacta just paid $13 for $1. They were the favorites in inverted order in a 7-horse field. So keep an eye on these. The horse paid $8 to win. The 7-5 favorite came second. You have to pay $26 for $2. Keep an eye on that. You can go when you're on your NairaBets account. You can just go right to the pools, and you can check the will pays in the pools, and you can see that. These things. I hit an exacta earlier today. They were two favorites. The thing paid $11 for $1.
Aren't you playing trifectas? There's 10% bonus today.
That as well. But I'm just saying, keep your eyes on that. On a regular basis. I played a few tries today. I haven't been able to hit one yet, but we got one more chance. Last button on Murphy's coat in the 9th.
6th at Oaklawn, state bred, maiden special weight, 6 furlongs. Here's Magnolia May.
Yeah, has hit the board in 2 of 3. There was an eased in the middle there. A lot of these horses you see in for a tag now and for the special weight. It's Arkansas breds, so they got these preps under their belts.
8-5 favorite. We will see next. Speed backed up in the debut at Churchill Downs.
This is one of the 2 examples I wanted. It gets the Lasix now at Oaklawn. No Lasix allowed at Churchill Downs. I think this horse is ready for a big effort, as is the 3 Timbavati, who ran for $50,000 at Churchill.
Another one showed speed backed up for Ron Marquette. Pat's Gal, first timer, the 4 we saw, and here's 38 to 1 shot Fortibug.
Yeah, a couple of barns that don't really win a lot first time out. Pat's Gal and Fortibug. They're both big prices and probably should be, as is Featurette. Another barn that does not do first-time starters that well, but wins at 17% on the year so far.
Yeah, 34 to 1 on the 6th. She's storming. Hightail filly debuting.
Another big price. Another barn that does not doesn't bode well first time out. Wow, I haven't seen a Hightail around in a while.
Honeycamp with a big work 2-back first timer.
And this one's taking some money for a barn that does win a little bit first time out. 2 for 8 with 2-year-olds the last 2 years.
Robino went by. Start number 2 debuted at Delta, and here's Cora Mandel, John Ortiz, short leaf stable.
This horse was the morning line favorite. A daughter of Tecton, who has a nice work tab for her debut.
9 to 1. Wild Rosie just ran at Churchill.
First time against
a little money.
First time against fellow Arkansas breds. Tried open maidens in Texas, restricted maidens at Churchill.
Aunt Carrie, first time starter from the outside at 39 to 1.
Another one of the handful of debuters in here from barns that do not usually produce first time out.
Now, Paulie, 2 fillies that showed speed in their debut. They're drawn right next door to each other in the 2 and 3.
Looks like everybody's fancying the big white little bunny rabbit here in the gray, the 2. And when you look at the 2, they had those races over at Churchill Downs where they were $150,000 maiden claiming races, and a lot of those horses weren't going to get claimed out of those races. And this is a daughter of double Irish and Archibred. But if you look at her family, 3 of the 4 sibs, Indian Bella, she won $227,000 on the track. Luddington made $194,000 on the track. And Connie K was 5 for 12 and $331,000 and a stakes winner. So the 2 has got some bottom pedigree here. And, for a horse to go off at a little bit under 8 to 1 at Churchill Downs as an Archibred and show 21 and change speed, I would think the 2 is going to be very tough in here. I'm surprised that a lot of people are close here when it comes to the other fillies, but that comes with the buzz with the 10. And the buzz has been that the 10 can run here a little bit for John Ortiz. Anthony talked about Tecton. He's only had 1 starter, and now this dam, it just shows you on the racetrack they might not be good, but she only made $800 in 3 starts on the racetrack. She's throwing 2 fulls. One of them was the Mary Rose, who's won over $500,000. So the 10 does have a tiny bit of pedigree, and the 8 is the horse that's taking the sneaky money. And you just look at that work 2-back. A daughter of Gormley got into mischief. Al Cates is 17%. He employs Martin Garcia. I thought the 2 would be a heavier favorite. I thought the 3 would take a little money, but the 10 and the 8, the money that they're taking into the 2, I have a feeling the 10 could be a runner here. So I'll land on the filly by Tecton and John Ortiz.
Meanwhile, there she is. She makes a nice appearance here in Short Leaf Stable. John Ed Anthony, last year at this meet, became the winningest owner in the history of this racetrack. Paulie mentioned the dam produced the Mary Rose. Also, the second dam won her debut. Minute to post coming up. Let's go to JK.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of a 2-horse race. When you look at some of these Arkansas-bred races, they can sometimes be a little lopsided. You've heard Richie Migliore talk about it on the show. It's just a smaller pool, gene pool to pick from when you just have Arkansas-bred. So if you have an Arkansas-bred that's a little bit of a standout, they can sometimes be tough for this group. The 2 Indian Irish and the 10 Coromandel are the ones that I thought made the most sense. You get John Ortiz, who wins with first-time starters at 14% throughout his career. You got a horse that's drawn towards the outside. That kind of stalking tactical trip at Oaklawn. We haven't seen Oaklawn in a while. Just a reminder, is usually the best type of trip to get there. Just kind of being in the clear. There's usually some pace in front of you, some aggressive riders down at Oaklawn Park. So I thought the 10 made some sense in here, but the 2 Indian Irish gets Lasix, but also was running in that $150,000 maiden race at Churchill Downs with those big purses. That feels like a maiden special rate race to me, and it's against open company. So the fact this horse was down on the inside, took pressure, and still ran well enough with honest pace figures, and actually took some money to that day, first-time starter. I think Indian Irish is going to take another step forward. And, look, I'm not cutting in line to bet 6-5 on Arkansas-bred maiden special weights, but I do think this is the most likely winner.
And likely going to be the one in front, too. Although, Tim Bavati, the 3 next door, showed quickness first time out as well. It looks like those 2 are the ones that want to vie for the front.
Yeah, and if the theory I put forth earlier today, when it rains down at Oaklawn Park, that inside speed last year looked good. We'll see if that if it holds true today.
Back to what Paul had mentioned too, the 8 first-timer is also one to keep an eye on that's taken some money. You see that work 2 back that I mentioned during the post parade. 3rd quickest of 66 in the morning, going 48-1 in a 4-furlong move on a track at Oaklawn. So it's 5-1 right now from an 8-1 morning line.
Yeah,
keep your eye on.
Taking a little money. Taking a little money the morning line odds maker thought the 10 would take.
And it was a track that day, earning that time. Had a little moisture in it. Was good that day. We'll see who handles the mud as well. And this 6th race coming up to start the late pick 4, included, of course, in the sequence, that Advent. We're going to see Tyler's Tribe ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint because they didn't want to go long with him off all those sprints.
You're excited for Tyler's Tribe today.
It's a fun horse. He might be the
quickest
2-year-old in the country.
I love seeing it. Now, listen, you're pumped up. It's funny. We have a minute as they mill about behind the starting gate. I was very fortunate as a kid to spend an awful lot of time with the late, great Alan Jerkins. And Alan absolutely, and I'm not saying this is going to happen with Tyler's Tribe today, almost refused to switch surfaces when a horse was in good form. If a horse was tailing off form, he was never reluctant to try something. But you couldn't have, if Alan Jerkins trained Tyler's Tribe, you couldn't have given him $1 million. Forget about the win end of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. You couldn't have given him $1 million to change surfaces with that horse.
Give the connections a bit of a pat.
They weren't going to stretch him out.
They didn't want to go longer off these races. They eventually want to go longer, but they didn't want to do it at that time of the year. And he has in his family a huge turf pedigree, so they said, let's give it a shot. Didn't work out.
He had 5. He did have 5 races. I don't know at what point when you're going to stretch out. He had 5 races. All I'm saying is this: if there is something to be a little thoughtful about with him today, it could very well be that. Sometimes, and Alan did it for years, they just never, he had too many horses never return to their form on whatever surface they had preferred.
Nothing's given.
I always think about
this
that.
Sport. It's not necessarily he's going to go back to who he was.
I always think about that. That's stuck in my head for probably 30 years at this point. It's never left me, and it probably never will, because I've seen it come back to haunt me too many times. And I've seen a lot of horses never come back to that form.
Worked for Cigar.
It worked for Cigar. Why he wound up on the turf is beyond me, but it worked for Cigar, my friend.
9-5 favorite, by the way, in New York. The 8 horse over. I thought the one entry would be favorite. We'll get to that one coming up in a bit. We'll have the post parade shortly. 6th here at Oaklawn. This pick 4. Indian Irish, the 3. Tim Bavati. Indian Irish, the 2. The 2 and 3, they're going to be quick early. Cora Mandela 10 for John and Anthony Shortleaf Stable. John Ortiz is going to try and beat Tyler's Tribe with Happy as a choice in the feature. For the first timer, David Cabrera rides. Let's go to Vic Stauffer, race 6 from Hot Springs.
The last horse to load. The last horse to load will be Aunt Carrie. They're at the post. They're off. Indian Irish caught a flyer, goes right to the front from Timbavati, and she's storming. Happy Camp is next. Then comes Aunt Carrie, Wild Rosie, Caro Mandel, and Magnolia May. Pascal is next. Then Fortibug and Robina, and at the back of the pack, it's Featurette. Indian Irish and Timbavati into the far turn. Indian Irish, a neck in front. Timbavati is second, 2.5 lengths, 2. She's storming in third. Then comes Happy Camp, fourth and about 5 from the front. Another 3 back to Caro Mandel, fifth with 7 lengths to make up. Magnolia Mays just inside of her. Aunt Carrie is midfield now and 10 from the front. 3 in front of Wild Rosie, Fortibug, and at the rail, Featurette. Back of the pack are Pascal and Robina. Match racing at the top of the stretch with Indian Irish and Timbavati. Indian Irish at the rail, Timbavati alongside. These two match strides. It's now 5 back to She's Storming. Caro Mandela is next, and Timbavati has put her head in front. Indian Irish trying to battle back and doing exactly that from the inside. She's Storming races in third, and Indian Irish retakes the lead. Now she'll have to hold off She's Storming, who's on the move at the rail. Indian Irish, She's Storming, surging. Indian Irish, She's Storming. She's Storming nailed Indian Irish on the money. Timbavati was third, and Fortibug finished fourth.
Another huge price. We may have 3 of 5 situation in this big 5. See what happens here. Wow, 47-1.
Not if you're a Kylie Jordan fan, my friend. Another big one. You know what this is reminiscent of? The 1989 Kentucky Derby day when Pat Day won the 5 races before Easy Goer's Kentucky Derby, and Easy Goer blew up the Pat Day pick 6. A 30 to 1 in the last race, right? And now 47-1 for Kylie Jordan.
Wow. Tyler's Tribe still to come right now. Nightcap, Aqueduct, and here's Full Moon Fever to kick off the post parade. State bred A Other Than. 1 turn mile. I like this one a lot today.
Back from Finger Lakes, back to Mark Henning. This horse has hit the board in 5 of his last 6, including 2 wins.
He's won his last 2 over fast tracks as well. The entry mate Simply will get post 4.
Yeah, he ran well last time. First time back on the circuit. This was in Rob Actress's barn behind Stakes horse and Curlin's Wisdom.
2 down, 27-1.
His second start on the dirt wasn't too bad last time. He was behind from Another Mother. He got bumped at the break. Maybe he can improve at a big price.
Labadin and Mo, Jackie Davis rides coming off a win, and here is Samay stretching out.
Yeah, from a series of sprint races back to a mile. He's never tried this mile distance.
Dr. Marbuz beat a half length last start.
Yep, he was second to Royal Suspect, second to Full Moon Fever, 2 and 3 back respectively.
Basis Risk, Jose Gomez.
Stretches out off of a series of sprints, makes the 3rd start for this barn.
A lot of respect for 42 Ace, who's had 6 seconds in 19 starts.
He's got the representative races. If the old 42 Ace shows up here today, they are all running for second money.
Penn National Form for Mason Mania. If he can translate it to New York, he's a major player.
First time state breds. He was on the lead last time. His bread and butter has been just off the pace.
15-1 Excursion East, who has been primarily on the grass of late.
Yeah, he's more of a turf horse. He's hit the board in just 1 of 4 dirt tries.
And Royal Suspect, rider change, Carlos Camilo, and a horse who has some ability on dirt at Finger Lakes.
He's also 2 for 5 with a 2nd and a 3rd locally against a little bit cheaper. He's been in good form up at the Lakes, and we'll see if he can bring that down here. He's double his morning line at 15-1 right now.
Minute to post, Nightcap here at Aqueduct. Let's head down to Maggie.
I'm kind of surprised the entry isn't favored in here, but 42 Ace, yes, does demand some respect. But a lot of times people go for 2 for the price of 1, and the entry looks pretty strong. As I'll take a look at the 1A in here simply, I think he's pretty interesting, honestly. As his trainer, Rob Atras, correctly pointed out to me, a little embarrassed that I'm admitting this, but he did skip a condition last time as the entry-level allowance didn't go, and so Rob put him in for the second-level allowance race, and he's eligible for this one because the purses up at Finger Lakes are just that much less than what they are here. So, and two, Rob pointed out that he hadn't had him in his barn for that long prior to that last start, in which he just took himself way out of it, going the mile and an eighth. I hope that he doesn't do that this time because the race was just more dominated in a more forward fashion, and he looks great. This is a horse that used to not carry his weight very well when I'd seen him previously and get kind of really nervous before his races. That is not the case. I mean, he's just on the complete opposite end of the spectrum now. I like Simply in here, but I also like the looks of Full Moon Fever, who does make a good deal of sense. Let's take a look at the Penn National Invader, who is taking some money. Number 9, Mason Mania. I think Anthony's right. I don't think he wants to be on the lead. He was kind of under a ride the whole way. It was like the rider had to keep his attention when he was out there in front. I think he needs a target to keep his focus and attention, and possibly that happens getting to a 1-turn mile here at Aqueduct, whereas it was a 2-turn mile there, and comes out of a decent race. The second place finisher came back to win with a 75, third Sage with an 88 in their next respective starts. He's well muscled in here. He's moving beautifully, really striding out well, and he's currently 4-1. But JK, I know that you think this entry's pretty tough too.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the entry is going to be tough, and the price, I think, makes a little bit of sense too at 5-2. I'll start with the 1A simply. This horse ran okay last time, sneaky okay for Rob Atras, first time with Rob Atras. You know, had a tough trip, kind of got steadied back to last, spent a lot of time down on the inside, and then had to try to circle wide there and ran an okay number. And with a horse that doesn't have a ton of early speed, I kind of like when there's an entry that kind of does have some speed towards the inside with Kendrick. I think you can be pretty aggressive with Kendrick on the 1 Full Moon Fever, see if you can't get loose, see if you can't get a slow pace, and then you always have the 1A simply to pick up the pieces. I feel very confident with this entry moving forward, and I would take that over the 3-2 on the favorite any day.
Yeah, I'm with JK. I'm surprised you're getting 5-2 here. I thought Full Moon Fever was the tougher half of this entry. I thought he was a standout in here. But the fact that Maggie likes Simply in here as well, you're legitimately getting 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, if you think that they're both formidable. I don't know about Full Moon Fever getting back to the circuit. I'm not sold that his consistency didn't happen because he went to Finger Lakes.
Nightcap from Aqueduct. We are set. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial, the call.
Mile. Set for the Nightcap. And they're off. And it is Basis Risk who is trying for the early lead, along with 42 Ace. Royal Suspect on the far outside. Excursion East is right there as 2 down now moves up down towards the rail. They leave the chute, or about to leave the chute, and go to the main track. 42 Ace and Royal Suspect, they're heads apart for the lead. 2 down is down at the rail, and right alongside is Basis Risk in 4th. Laban M.O. runs in 5th. Followed next by Excursion East, who is in 6th. Mason Mania runs in 7th. Followed by Full Moon Fever in 8th, and Samé is in 9th. Simply, and the trailer is Dr. Marbuz. The quarter went 23 and 3. 42 Ace is the leader here, with a Royal Suspect giving chase in 2nd. Laban MMO next in 3rd, half mile 47 and 2. 42 Ace, the favorite, in front now by a length and a half. With Royal Suspect in 2nd, Laban M.O. is 3rd. Mason Mania gains ground on the outside from 4th, and Mason Mania is followed there by Simply, who also gains, and down towards the rail, Full Moon Fever is in gear. As they come for the top of the stretch, 42 Ace, Full Moon Fever. Far outside it is Simply. Now it's the entry mates here. Full Moon Fever and Simply, and they are 1-2. Full Moon Fever at the rail. Simply on the outside. They've opened up on the rest of the field. Mason Mania is next in 3rd. And farther back, it is Royal Suspect. The entry will be 1-2 here, and the winner will be Full Moon Fever. Kendrick Carmouche's 3rd win today. Simply was 2nd. Farther back, Mason Mania, then Dr. Marbuz and Royal Suspect.
Entry 1-2, Full Moon Fever. Kendrick Carmouche, as you heard, part of a 3-win afternoon for him.
He saved some ground, whereas Simply had to go the long way around, and I think that was what got the job done here. Kendrick and Mark Hennig were having a grand old time of it in the paddock off screen. They were having a good time joking around. Kendrick gave this horse and made an aggressive move. He saw that 42 Ace kind of had to work for the lead, went probably a lot faster than they expected, and once he started to back up, Kendrick got aggressive, was able to save that ground, and was able to get the job done, holding off his stablemate. Entry mate, I should say. They are in different barns.
Entry, much the best here to close out this card here in New York. And did not go off favored. Second choice, 2-1. Mark Hennig had this horse previously, back with him after the horse did a little stint at Finger Lakes, and wins back here at Aqueduct at 2-1. 1-1-A-9-5 for Windy Lee Farm.
You'll go back to the 11 who finished 5th to round out your superfecta.
Prices for you when we come back. Aqueduct card in the books. More coming up from Oaklawn next.
The return of Sunday Silence.
Sunday Silence surges to the front.
It's Yoshida in front. Yoshida takes charge at the top of the stretch, and Yoshida wins the Turf Classic.
Here comes Yoshida, storming home in the center with Gunnevera. Yoshida! Yoshida has won the one-word.
The perfect balance. Yoshida.
We take pride in what we do.
For me, it's more of a passion than actual work. I'm an assistant trainer.
Carpenter.
I'm a peace officer.
I'm a jockey.
I'm a gardener.
I'm a groom.
Clocker.
Assistant starter. Trainer.
ESL teacher.
I love what I do.
There's so many jobs that come together every day. It's a collective effort that really makes this ball go round.
We are New York Racing.
I couldn't imagine working anywhere else.
For me, riding horses in the morning is the best thing I can do.
New York Racing helps support my small business.
It's extremely important to the New York economy.
Like my dream come true.
This is like a big family.
We are New York Horse Racing.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Back with you on America's Day of the Races on our FS2 coverage. Regional networks down in SoCal as well. It's brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Opening day coverage from Oaklawn Park continues. We'll get back there momentarily. As in right now. She's storming. First time out, 47-1.
With the Kylie...
Big number we've had in the sequence.
Kylie Jordan double coming back $710.
Gonna pick 3.
How about that pick 3? That's for 50 cents, folks. I don't even know what else you could buy for 50 cents right now. In this world, no, there's no more payphones.
We'd still be, even if we hit it, we'd be greedy. Why didn't we play it for $1?
Of course.
That's
why the Naira Bets account has the repeat button, my man.
Back in New York, Kendrick Carmouche, 3-win afternoon for him. Teams up with Mark Hennig in the finale for Windy Lee Farm. Full Moon Fever, the victory.
Yeah, excellent ride. You see, he's highlighted there in the green cap. Separate part of the entry has the white cap, and that's what made the difference here. 3 or 4 paths of saving some ground, and Kendrick gets the hat trick on the afternoon and is able to cut the corner. No, not really cut the corner, but save more ground than Simply, and is able to hold that one off pretty much from the 8th pole to the wire. Long way back to Mason Mania, Dr. Shaboos, and all the rest.
Different barns, but same ownership group. And outcome in terms of the wagering, not a doubt, you still want to finish this off.
Yeah.
Kendrick does that.
670, 670. Those prices are okay as the entry runs 1-2, so you get all the place money. Not bad. And here's your
Pick five. Yeah, you see it there, $962 in 2 quarters. If you were able to find Curbstone. Now, Synthesis might have been tough for a few as well. That was not an easy race.
Yeah. Right, you had a co-favorite, a favorite, a second choice, and a second choice with Curbstone. There you go. Congratulations.
$962.50. So our Aqueduct card in the books. More ahead from Oaklawn. Are we saying goodbye to you?
No, I'm sticking for the 7th.
All right, we got one more segment with the Big A. Race 7.
Lucky you.
6 furlong sprint, A other than. We'll go through this field when we come back. That's Tom Amos's Hazy Command. Just ran second at Churchill. We'll be right back.
He was just put together like a machine, and he had a great mind. Everything about him was what you'd want.
Tis the Law pops the cork in the champagne.
Tis the Law is going to win the first leg of the Triple Crown.
I've never seen him get tired.
Respect the law. Tis the Law.
His structure is just perfect. His bone is perfect.
He's left the others behind. He's going to win the Run Happy Travers.
He's everything you would look for in a horse.
Back on America's Day of the Races on our FS2 coverage. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Race 7 next in Hot Springs on their opening day card. First allowance condition, 6 furlong sprint. And Empire Pass. Trying to win a 4th in a row, this 3-year-old filly for Robertino Diodoro, the 3.
Yeah, trying to go right through the conditions. This race, and Maggie referenced this in the last race here in New York about the allowance condition. So you'll see Empire Pass 1 and A other than at Remington 2 starts back. Well, the winner did not make $23,000, and that's part of the condition here. A $34,000 purse, even at the 60% level, is less than $23,000. So you can win multiple allowance races in Empire Pass by way of winning pots that saw her net less than $23,000, gross less than $23,000 for the win, is still eligible for the A other than and the 2 other than.
Here's our post parade. We start with Hazy Command, Tom Amos.
Third off a little bit of a summer break. Gets Rafael Bejarano. I guess Edwin Morales went to Fairgrounds. 4-1. You want to be inside, I think, on this course today.
Sneaky big figure from Aquila Moon at Remington last start.
Kept improving. This horse cut back from a 2-turn try to a couple of tries. This horse actually ran in Saratoga this summer. Only going to beat 5 lengths to Backyard Money, who's in here.
Yeah, she's interesting. She's won 2 in a row. Here's Empire Pass. She's won 3 in a row.
Since being claimed by Robertino Diodoro, and again takes advantage of the winning the multiple lay other ends because of the purse structure.
Diva Treva, she is quick early.
I don't know what you want to do. Kylie Jordan looking for the natural pick 3. I can't even imagine what this thing's paying.
Heated argument, 17-1.
Yeah, tried the turf last time when last seen in June. Got the job done against fellow Arkansas breds back in May around closing weekend.
One of the biggest numbers ever was her win. She actually went on the slop to break her maiden. Backyard Money for D. Wayne Lucas.
Yeah, got the job done on a muddy track in Saratoga after breaking the maiden 2 starts prior.
8-1, I can't believe it.
Yeah, showed some speed in her last couple of starts after getting away slowly off a long layoff.
Lofthouse, huge figure off a short layoff at Horseshoe Indy 2-back.
Came back at Churchill Downs, proved the going too tough. Going to see what kind of trip she can sit under Rocco Bowen.
Hyper Sport. She was second to Pretty Birdie, who would win the Schuylerville and face Secret Oath on a couple of occasions.
Cuts back from a 7/8 stride from a May to October layoff and now goes back to the 3/4 of a mile.
Also eligible to draw in. The 13 is quick early.
Yeah, Keith Asmussen for Father Steve, second in his last 2, won 3 in a row prior to the layoff.
And this is a 5-time winner on the outside. Ring Me Darling at 32-1.
Yeah, one of those wins came on a wet track. Did not bode well last time on a wet track. Gets the 5-pound apprentice aboard this afternoon.
4 minutes away from the 7th here at Oaklawn. And this late pick 3. Let's take a look at the filly on this win streak, Empire Pass. She's put together 3 in a row. This was the most recent at Remington. She went gate to wire.
Only 2 times she's been off the board. Grego's been only 1 time she was off the board has been on the grass. Her dirt form has been fantastic, especially since this Diodoro claim, where she has won 3 in a row. Daughter of Honor Code is going to deal with a wet track for the first time today. We'll see if she can keep this win streak intact.
Off since this race, early October. It started actually at Del Mar out on the West Coast, and then 2 at Remington. We're going to check in with Paula Duca now for more on the rail filly for Tom Amos.
Yeah, and when you look at the rail filly Hazy Command here, Rafael Bejarano gets in the irons, and you guys were talking about Edgar Morales, and Edgar obviously was Tom's regular rider at Churchill Downs, and this horse actually at Indiana Downs, and it's a horse that needs to get away from the gate. The last time this horse ran did not get away from there and was in that proverbial treadmill that we always talked about at Churchill Downs, like 4 or 5 wide coming down the stretch. And she's going to have to break a little bit sharper. And you could see she could be tactical as well. And you could see last time Kylie Jordan came up the rail with the 7 and took another horse gate to wire. If she's able to do this again with the 4 for Gennaro Garcia, if you go a Kylie Jordan hat trick, that pick 3 is paying monstrous. There are multiple 2 out of 3s in the pick 3s in here. The other horse that's taken a lot of money in here is the 12 for Chelsea Bailey and Ingrid Mason. This horse gets a race into her at Keeneland, haven't been seen since May, and I love the way the horse looked on the racetrack, a filly by Blame, and the money that this horse is just taking in the will pays now is clicked to your favorite too as well. I'm going to give an outside look, and I'm with you, Greg. I see a horse at 24-1 that's improving. The 2 should not be 24-1. Anguilla Moon. You get Johnny Araldo aboard. Floyd Weathy been riding this horse at Remington Park, but those are 2 nice wins. And I get that this horse lost the Backyard Money, but that was a long time ago. So I thought the 2 was a long shot look, and obviously the 3 for Robertina Diodoro. 3 in a row and looking for 4 in a row. And I know, JK, you might be on the Diodoro train.
I'm like 1 foot off, 1 foot on the train, which I'm assuming is dangerous. I haven't done a lot of train travel in my life, but I think 1 foot on, 1 foot off of train is probably dangerous. The 3 Empire Passes, who I'm going to talk about here. Look, like you mentioned, Paulie, this horse has won 3 races since switching to the Diodoro barn. 1 at Del Mar, 1 at Remington Park a couple of times. And from a speed figure standpoint, just seems to kind of be improving for Diodoro. If they could kind of match that last figure, I think the 3 Empire Pass could be a little bit tough. And, it's 7-2 on the board. There's nothing wrong with that. I just, you're going to hear me say it a lot this winter. I just don't love shorter priced horses drawn inside at Oaklawn Park. It's just, you got to really work out a great trip from down there, in my opinion, in these evenly matched fields. So that would be the one negative I see about the 3 Empire Pass. Kind of horse I'd love if drawn towards the outside. And then the 13, Show Me Grace. Steve Asmussen claimed this horse for $7,500 and has been pretty productive. Has won some races. You'll notice Steve Asmussen also owns the horse. I've always found that when Steve owns a horse, he has the option. He doesn't have to talk. He doesn't have to call an owner and convince him, hey, let's run him for a tag. Hey, let's run him here. Let's run him there. He can run the horse where the horse needs to be. And I trust his spots when he has horses like this that are his. I think this horse could improve, ran well last time, and could take another step forward. And like I talked about earlier, I kind of like those outside draws. And this is a nice little keep it in the family moment with his son being the rider on this horse as well. And his son's a Longhorn. So I needed to make sure I said that.
15-1 on Show Me Grace. I didn't catch what he said, actually, but something about a Longhorn. Steve Asmussen with his son. 5-1, meanwhile, on the 9.
That's where I landed in here, Greg. Source started off with a huge win back in September of last year at Churchill Downs on debut. They ran her in a little stakes race over at $150,000 race on closing weekend at Keeneland. She got beat just 3 parts of a length on the front end. She was gone for 11 months. When she came back, she ran on Lasix. Veer out, faded, eased. I don't know anything about the race. But in her next 2 starts, she did not have Lasix. I wonder if she had an allergic reaction. Something that can happen. I don't know what happened. She came back to try to turf sprint at Keeneland. She ran okay. She showed her speed at the very least. And then last time she dueled through some wicked early fractions at Churchill Downs and held on for second nicely. Now she's drawn outside. I think you want to be inside. But I'll tell you what. There are some fast fillies in here. I don't know if she's not the fastest out of the gate. She gets David Cabrera, who before getting injured was one of the leading riders at Oaklawn last year and would have probably won the riding title. She's by Camp Veros, so a little moisture in the track should not hurt her cause. And I would imagine that David's going to come out of there running. I know Empire Pass is on that 3-race win streak, but she's not a need-to-lead type. She won from off the pace at Del Mar. She was not really going that fast last time at Remington. You know, can't believe it's probably been facing tougher at Churchill Downs. I can't believe she's 5-1. I'm a little surprised by the price.
No wonder Jonathan likes the outside post here, or the 13 anyway. Yeah, son Keith is a Longhorn. That's what he was talking about.
Yes.
15-1 on one who's going to be forward, by the way, too.
Yeah, should be forward. Like I said, I'm going a little against my own grain here. I think the inside's probably where you want to be so far from what I've seen at Oaklawn in the 4 races, with the 3 races we've covered. I watched the earlier races. It looks like you want to be inside, but you know what? If I'm right and can't believe it's the speed of the speed, it's not going to be hard to get inside. You just got to cross and clear and get to that coveted inside position.
Oh, that's all.
I think she's fastest. I do. I truly believe she's the fastest horse in this race. We'll see if David Cabrera agrees and gets her to the front end today.
Coming out of a 5-furlong effort at Churchill when she was quick early.
Yeah, you'd imagine she's sharp,
Didn't have
right?
the lead, but it was fast early.
Right.
She was right there.
You'd imagine she's going to be sharp out of that race. 5.5 on the turf, 5 furlongs on the dirt. I'd have to imagine she is the speed of the speed. If she's not, it won't be the first time I'm wrong. Believe that? I've been wrong a few times.
Welcome to horse racing.
Wrong you could be wrong a few times an hour now in the age of simulcasting.
And the beauty of our sport, you only need to be right once in a blue moon.
The great Harvey Pack once said,
to be profitable.
You'd always come back tomorrow and make 9 more mistakes. Some days you can make 11. At just one place. What a world.
3-1 favorite, this 12.
Surprised by that.
Hypersport, and a lot of it's probably just because you see show up in the running lines. I mean, Pretty Birdie is a really talented
stakes filly.
Sprinting filly for Norm Cassie in those Mary Lou Whitney silks. We saw one on opening day at Saratoga. She's Secret Oath, Kentucky Oaks winner. Faced her on a couple of occasions, including a stakes race. Second off a lengthy layoff. You would expect improvement. We'll see if we get it. Coming up, Vic Stauffer the call. Race 7 from Oaklawn.
Hypersport. Two more. Show Me Grace and Ring Me Darling. They're at the post. They're off. Can't Believe It and Hypersport break well. Heated argument and Empire Pass close up. So is Diva Triva 5 across the racetrack. Then comes Ring Me Darling, Show Me Grace, and at the rail goes Hazy Command. Then comes Aquila Moon, followed by at the back of the pack, Lofthouse and Backyard Money. Up the backstretch and Empire Pass, trying for 4 in a row, is cleared off. Empire Pass, a 2.5 length lead over Kylie Jordan and Diva Triva in second. Can't Believe It is third. Hypersport is fourth, but just passed by Heated Argument and Hazy Command. 3 lengths further back, 2 at the rail and Lofthouse. Then it's 2.5 back to Show Me Grace and Backyard Money. Empire Pass, the one to beat. It is Empire Pass at the top of the stretch. Now Can't Believe It starts to run after her. She's 3.5 lengths behind. Hypersport outside of her. Empire Pass now leads only by 2, and Hypersport is in gear in the center, and so is Hazy Command. These 3 to the final furlong. It is Hazy Command between horses. Empire Pass, Hypersport to the outside. Hazy Command takes the lead. Hypersport into second. Empire Pass third. Hazy Command in front. Hazy Command beat Hypersport. Empire Pass was third, and Can't Believe It finished fourth.
Hazy Command, that looks like a long filly there for Tom Amos. Mastery filly gets the win, third win of her career. Rafael Bejarano aboard.
Yep, never left the rail until he had to go around the filly who was fading on the front end. Got to the front and was able to hold off Hypersport for the money here. And Rafael Bejarano and Tom Amos, our colleague, getting the job done down in Hot Springs.
Always good to get a W on opening day. 112.3. Hazy Command, your winner. So long to Anthony Stabile.
See you tomorrow.
Look forward to it.
Can't wait.
I hope that was sincere.
It was.
Okay, good.
Of course.
We'll see you tomorrow. Coming up next, Maggie Wolfendale going to join me for the conclusion of the program. We still have the feature coming up next. The Advent and Tyler's Tribe, undefeated on Dirt Perfect, 5 for 5, multiple stakes winner. Those 5 wins by nearly 58 lengths combined. Back to dirt for him after a turf test in the Breeders' Cup. Stay with us.
Yes, there's family. If we say La Troyenne, you'll get the picture. And of course, form. G1 this.
A breathtaking run.
G1 that.
Dig down deep to win it.
But take a long, steady look, and the word that most likely springs to mind is fantastic. Maxfield. Family. Form. Physique. Fantastic.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Quality Road, proving Lane's End's tried and true stallion making tradition, a tradition that leads to success for our partners and our stallions. Quality Road has sired multiple Eclipse Award and Grade 1 winners, including champion 2-year-old colt Corniche, champion 2-year-old filly Caledonia Road, champion 3-year-old filly Abel Tasman, and multiple Grade 1 winner City of Light. He's a leader of his generation. Quality Road, a stallion that stands above the rest.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
During Leo McLaughlin's 22-year run as mayor of Hot Springs, starting in 1926, the city became a haven for notorious criminals and gangsters, most notably Al Capone.
A lot of people aren't aware of the fact that in 1931, Las Vegas, Nevada had 5,000 people in it and no high-rise hotels. Everyone was there to build the Boulder Dam, which became the Hoover Dam. At the same time, in 1931, Hot Springs had 20,500 people in it, 22 high-rise hotels, and $100 million in gambling income. The only difference was here in Arkansas, it was illegal, but it was okay.
During the spring, tourists could find themselves rubbing elbows with gangsters and Major League Baseball players.
Everyone year-round could enjoy the hot mineral baths, hunting and fishing and gambling. But in the spring, it was the opening of the live thoroughbred race meet at Oaklawn Park. And man, was it a happening place.
I want to know how Babe Ruth was as a handicapper. I want to know that. Welcome back to the program. Those just joining us, I have a new partner on the desk. Maggie Wolfadale joining me for the final hour here on the program. We have the feature still coming up here at Oaklawn. We're going to see Tyler's Tribe in action.
Tyler's Tribe coming back. That's we'll see. You know, he obviously was very good in his dirt races, but it was documented that he bled out of that race in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. And you always wonder, are they going to be able to come back from a negative experience like that? But this is his gig. He likes a dirt sprint.
And reportedly working sharper than he even usually does on this racetrack here at Oaklawn. Got to deal with this off track as well coming up. So a few question marks. Back in the 7th, our buddy Tom Amos. We keep it a tally on how many wins he has?
I think we should.
We did
just
for a
to put
while.
The
He got
on.
to the landmark win, and we've kind of stopped count. Hazy Command appreciating this muddy going.
Yeah, and rallying down towards the inside. You kind of look at the track, Greg, and it almost does look as though that inside path does feel a bit drier, and you see kind of drifted out to that tire track there and really gobbling up the ground. Big strides over this wet going and doing it the right way, kind of putting some separation between him and the rest of the field.
So Hazy Command, $8 winner. We've had massive prices today. A couple of Kylie Jordan runners. Shocking everybody. Look at that 50-cent pick 3 over $4,000.
Is she going to get another one? The big one. It's so funny. It's like, you know, the pressure's off. You bring in all these long shots, and then the big one. Can she get it done?
Got to be feeling pretty good with
Absolutely.
those two under the belt already. And now the big gun coming out, Tyler's Tribe. Here we go. Feature on this opening day card at Oaklawn. 5.5 furlongs, 2-year-olds. And Tyler's Tribe opens at 1-9. Back to dirt where he has never lost. Competition among those. Happy's a choice. Coming off a maiden win at Keeneland. Trained by John Ortiz, who had this to say about his talented 2-year-old.
Happy's a choice. You know, we liked him from the very beginning when we got him from the 2-year-old sales. You know, I expressed my decision of wanting to take his time, and you know, he's a horse that's going to be. Will take a couple of starts to get it together, and once they click, obviously, that performance at Keeneland was, I mean, amazing. You know, definitely turned on, and the run happy in him came out. When you come down to Hot Springs, you kind of expect this weather. We actually feel like we always win on the mud here in Hot Springs, so it's part of it. It does not affect too much. You know, we just train to the horse. You know, if we got to take it easy on one, fine. If we can gallop another one, that's fine. We just let the horses tell us what they want. You know, we're all sitting in the same boat, literally. We're looking at going over this race. You know, I think there's going to be plenty of speed, obviously, and I think this horse is he's rateable. He's very smart. And he's push button, so we're just gonna let the race set up. You know, if we catch the front end and nobody goes with us, then that's fine. And then we're gonna have 2 other horses go out there. We'll let them hopefully tire themselves out, and then we'll come back and pick up the pieces.
Well, I expect there's going to be at least one horse on the front end with Tyler's Tribe. Look, he's exceptionally quick. He's been on the front end every single start of his career on dirt.
Yeah, he projects, when you look at the Timeform US pace projector figures, he looks as though he should be in front of this field. But, Greg, there are some other horses who do have at least enough pace that if they want to try to rip the heart out of Tyler's Tribe, they could.
That was him. We'll get back to Tyler's Tribe momentarily. Again, Connections didn't want to stretch him out at that point in time in the Breeders' Cup on dirt.
Yep.
So they said, let's keep him sprinting, keep him on grass. There's turf pedigree in his family. Bled in the race. Didn't get to use Lasix. He's back on Lasix today.
I think that's a major, issue that is going to be resolved with that medication, him being able to have that again. Now, look, too, he's never been on a wet track. There's a lot of variables being thrown at him. I'm not saying he's going to lose here. I don't think he's that vulnerable, but I don't think he should be this short of a price. I think there's some interesting horses that, he is the proven commodity, but there's some horses that could be on the uptick.
Yeah, there's definitely some question marks, especially coming off that performance last time out. Wet track. We'll get to the Advent and the rest of the field, who he's going to face in a moment. Let's take a look at the weekend stakes schedule. Tomorrow, we have the Garland of Roses here in New York. Ring the Bell and the Mistletoe at Oaklawn. We're going to look ahead to all these races momentarily. Right now, Garland of Roses first up, 8th on the card tomorrow at Aqueduct. There's some serious speed signed on in this race, including Hot Peppers, runner-up in this year's test, who had back-to-back wins coming into that race this summer at Saratoga.
This is a really fun race, Greg. I'm actually really looking forward to this one here. Hot Peppers, she disappointed a bit in that prior race, but that race won by Wicked Halo, who seemed to be just in very good form, towards that latter half of the summer. She got good, though, too, Hot Peppers for Rudy Rodriguez. Now, she's coming off a bit of a freshening. We'll see if that's what she needed. As you said, there could be a little bit more pace in here to keep her company. Horse coming in from Maryland. We'll see what Don't Let Sweets Fool You. But Smash Ticket, she feels pretty darn fast, too, and she's posted outside of her.
Yeah, both these two, we're going to get Smash Ticket now. They want the front end to do their best running. And Smash Ticket, 2 back at Pimlico. She went gate to wire and her speed was on display. So what we'll give Kendra Carmouche will ride her tomorrow.
Doesn't it feel like this race is just setting up perfectly for Beguine, whom puts the blinkers on, and some people critical of the ride that Arad Ortiz gave her that day, as she was the beaten favorite, cruised into the race, looked as though she was going to blow right by Rosa Veloce while in hand, and was just never able to. So some people saying it was a bit of a passive ride. I'm not sure. She may have just been second best, and we'll see if that very fast fig that Beguine got when running second is solidified in tomorrow's Garland of Roses. Puts the blinkers on for Ned Allard, who is, over my years here in New York, he's quite the crafty trainer when it comes to putting equipment on. It seems as though whatever equipment he adds to a horse, it usually does the trick. So second time under his care, I think Beguine could be very dangerous.
Yeah, just fun to see early in that race, too, how it's going to play out. Who's going to be quicker of those two very fast fillies. Oaklawn Stakes action, as we showed you on that graphic. Ring the Bell, part of it. Race 7, 6 furlongs, 3-year-olds and up. And we're going to start with the 2-to-1 morning line favorite, Kavod. 2 back was impressive at Churchill Downs.
And 2, he was a horse that I thought would really relish getting back to the sprint distances. And I think that his connections have been rewarded in doing that with him. And 2, he's kind of a horse that, I know he only has the 1 race at Oaklawn, but we saw him run some good races last year, including winning the Advent, which we'll see a little coming up shortly here. But he's just really refound some vigor with these turn back to the sprint races, and a horse that is going to show up over this racetrack too.
Yeah, and that start after that where he wound up 4th,
there were some tough, hard-knocking horses.
Bango's, he's not Breeders' Cup level, but he's one of the better sprinters in the country.
And he's 5?
6?
I
believe he's going to be turning 6, and they're bringing him back next year to try and become the winningest horse in the
at
history of Churchill Downs.
I mean, when you're a 3-year-old, and I know it's like the latter half of the year and you have to face the older horses, but horses like Bango who have been doing it for twice as long as you nearly, they're going to be tough to run down. So I think Kavod is in raging form.
Meanwhile, what do you do with Flash of Mischief? This start, he had 2 starts back at Remington. Was that a correct figure? I mean, a 104 Beyer speed figure in that win. He's never come close to it before. His race after that, he was in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. What do you expect? But they put him into the Sprint because of this race.
It does feel a little aberrational, to say the least. But, he's run some 90s in the past, too. He did look good doing it out at Remington. He's going to have to bring that form here to Oaklawn. Horses like this, I don't know if I necessarily trust as much, but he's going to be the one, he's going to be the one to sit back and see how things unfold from that inside post position.
Slight drop in class.
To say the least.
Breeders' Cup Sprint last time out. That's race 7 on the card. Race 9, we got fillies and mares going 2-turn mile on the Mistletoe. And interesting runner who has come to the States and has been very impressive, winning twice at 2 different racetracks, Leda Vida.
She beat Will Secret, who she'll also face in here too. And yeah, she's been good for Nacho Correas. And Nacho Correas, when he gets a filly, especially, or mare going well, and he's done it with Blue Stripe, right? He won the Breeders' Cup Distaff, I think. That's her name. I might be making that up off the top of my head. But anyway, he did win a Breeders' Cup Distaff with a filly imported from South America. Now look, she's finishing up here on the wrong lead, but she just kind of is that bigger horse than many of her competitors, that she just covers more ground than the rest of them. And I think that's always a feather in one's cap. Now she's kind of 3rd off of that layoff, 3rd start in this country. She could be setting up to run the biggest one that she's had so far.
Yeah, she's interesting. 5-year-old mare who's Group 1 placed in Chile. Working sharp, it looks like. See if she can keep that perfect record in the States intact. Coach lining up as well. She looked pretty good off a 7.5-month layoff for Brad Cox. She did not back it up, though, in the Chiluki.
No, she did not, did she? I don't know. Has she ever been that good, though, Greg? Like, she just... I don't know what to think of her necessarily. Now, maybe, it was... I don't know if I trust her, to be completely honest, but, maybe, and it's not like it was the toughest field last time out in the Grade 3 Chiluki either. She's going to have to, go back to some of her better efforts, and are they there?
Yeah, we'll see. She's been probably a little challenging, too, I would think, for Brad Cox, because there's some talent in there, but you don't know what you're going to get with her. Certainly that was a big regression from her last time out. That's race 9 on the card on Saturday. On the Mistletoe, up next, it's our opening day feature, the Advent Tyler's Tribe, perfect 5 for 5 on dirt, putting that perfect record on this surface on the line after that failed lawn experiment in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. The Advent. Next is 1-9 when we last saw the board. Post-parade coming up when we return. You're watching America's Day at the Races on our FS2 and regional network coverage out in SoCal. Good to have you with us. Presented by Nightcap Bets, where you can play it all. Opening day feature on this Oaklawn card. 5.5 furlongs for 2-year-olds in the $150,000 Advent. And Tyler's Tribe, 5 for 5 on dirt. 2-5 favorite. We start with Count de Monet, who's undefeated in 2 starts.
Yeah, big win last time, but against much inferior rivals, though did it the right kind of way, under wraps for Tom Swearingen.
If the 5 doesn't show up, I thought that horse was interesting, though. CJ Storm, the 2, big price, John Horan.
Indiana bred, that's only face Indiana bred company, just looks too slow on paper.
Turf debut and a win for Too Much Info, the 3.
And watching this horse move over the turf did just float over the surface, and on the bottom side is more bread for the green stuff.
How did he do that? Just won the Zia Juvenile.
Took a while to switch leads in that race, Greg, but once he did, he really leveled off. And if things heat up, I think he could be the first one calling.
So here's the 2-5 favorite, perfect 5 for 5 on dirt, the Iowa bred.
Well, it's good to see him on his toes there. That's kind of how he was at the Breeders' Cup. I'm thinking that's what he is. And we'll see how he negotiates the wet track today. It's a big question mark.
We heard from John Ortiz earlier on Happy as a Choice coming off that maiden win at Keeneland.
Should be forward, ran really well, and does get Lasix for the first time.
Frosted Departure was just 3rd in a stake at Churchill.
He kind of ran well. He idled a little bit in that last 16th of a mile, so shortening up to the 5.5 might help him.
Alto Road broke his mane at Lone Star.
You know, it's a shame it's a wet track again, because this horse is interesting, Greg. He's run against some nice horses, albeit in the Midwest at Lone Star and Remington Park. If he decides he can handle a wet track, I think he's interesting.
And Wild Mule, he won the first 2 starts of his career. They both came at Monmouth at 5 and 5.5 furlongs.
He was in a 4-horse field last time. He was on the wrong lead finishing up. I don't really trust this horse. I'd almost rather take 47-1 on the 8 rather than 15-1 on the 9.
So let's look at the heavy favorite, 1-2, Tyler's Tribe. 5 wins on dirt by 57 3/4 lengths combined. This was his last dirt start. State bred company, Prairie Meadows in Iowa, and he won by 6.5 lengths.
And he's doing this all under wraps. He has won the total of his dirt races by 59 lengths in only 5 starts. That's pretty remarkable. You know, you're not going to find many horses to be able to do that. It's just the question mark. You know, horses that may have a propensity to bleed, and his trainer Tim Martin not saying that he had previously before that Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Wet tracks aren't going to do them any favors. Because there's, that, not that he's going to get kickback necessarily, but there's a lot of, noise. There's a lot more kind of chaos for a horse over a wet track, and it will get one pretty nervous. And so if this was a dry track, I feel like there's no way that anybody's beating him, but I don't love this wet track scenario for him.
1-2 on the board, again to John Ortiz's runner. Happy as a Choice. First 2 starts didn't show a whole lot. He was almost 30-1 in his debut. Start number 3, he completely turned things around at Keeneland.
Wow, he broke well from that outside post, drawing into this race. It wasn't even in the body, but look at him power away from this field here. As Johnny said, and it is true with a lot of the run happies, it does feel as though they take a start or 2 to really kind of figure it all out and put it together. I think about Run Happy's first race, which he did win, but he did it in such the wrong way. It was one of the most fascinating
chaotic
debuts.
mess was a good way to state that debut from him.
I remember saying to Andy, or Sterling, like, Andy, did you watch this horse's debut at Turfway? And I showed it to him, and he's like, oh my God.
It's one of my favorite races.
It's so great. But yeah, so they seem to take a while to put it all together, and could he be a horse that's just on that upward swing, upward trajectory?
9-2, upside with Happy as a Choice. Let's go to Paula Duca for more.
Yeah, what to do with Tyler's Tribe, especially at this price with Kylie Jordan and Timothy Martin. And you know what? Talking to Timothy, he was saying, like, listen, I know this horse is an Iowa bred, being Tyler's Tribe, but I kind of feel like this is his home track. I broke him here at Oaklawn. I broke him here in Hot Springs. He got to start as a 2-year-old training over this track. And I feel like it's kind of a home court advantage. And like you said, Greg, earlier in the show, for a lot of people just join us, he's come back training better than ever. And for a horse that ran on November 4th, obviously was vanned off and bled. And Lasix will go back on. You know, when you have a horse of this kind of quality, I don't think you're going to wheel this horse right back thinking that you're not going to have a ton of confidence. So I get it. Tyler's Tribe is definitely the horse to beat. I will say that he looked tremendous, as well as the 6. Happy is a Choice looked phenomenal on the racetrack. And, you know, Johnny Ortiz is, I think, just a trainer that is on the ascend. We've already know he's 19% for the year. That work 2 back, I mean, this horse must be feeling unbelievable, because that win last time was, like you guys said, a complete turnaround. I don't know if it was the blinkers or not, second time blinkers. Then bullet drill after bullet drill. You get David Cabrera. So I'm thinking this horse has got a very, very good shot in here. You know, in the horse that was second to him, 2 back, Lugan Knight from Michael McCarthy, very good runner. And then I'm going to get to the 7, Frost's Departure, just because when you look at the PPs, you see Damon's Mound. At that time, Damon's Mound was the king earlier in the year. Then you see Forte and Loggins, obviously in the Peters Futurity, Curly Jack. Those races have literally turned out winner after winner wherever they've run. So the 7's coming out of loaded races. I can understand why that this horse is taking a little bit of money. And the 2 Army Mule horses on the outside should not be that big of a price. We're all rooting for Tyler's Tribe here. I'm a tiny bit with Mags here that I don't know if I want to go 1 and 2. I'll take a chance with Happy is a Choice. But if the 5 gets loose in here in Tyler's Tribe, it could be over soon.
Yeah, Paulie, you know, people at home are probably giggling that I'm against this 1 to 2 shot in here, because often when a horse becomes as short of a price, they've got a huge edge. And I think that there is an opportunity to try to build and create value in other ways, and not trying to bang your head against the wall, trying to beat a horse that feels like they're going to win. In this situation, I'm going to try to beat Tyler's Tribe, though, for a couple of reasons. One, if you look at some of the blowout performances, they did stop the clock fast. But horses that can get loose on the front end sometimes get a little bit brave. And when they're facing inferior horses, that bravery comes a little bit easier. If you look back at the Prairie Meadows race, and even the race in Iowa, the horses behind haven't really come back to do a whole lot. They haven't really run that much faster. They haven't really moved up in class and won bigger races. You look back at the Iowa race, one horse that's run back in here ran 4th in a allowance race. I just am not convinced about Tyler's Tribe, and I feel like the last race could be a negative experience. It happens from time to time when these horses bleed, that they come back and they kind of protect themselves. They don't really lay it down again because they don't want to have that situation happen again. I'm going to look towards the 6. Happy is a Choice to the outside. This horse ran well last time at Keeneland. Got a nice speed figure. Is drawn outside of the main competition. Should be in the clear for a trainer in Johnny Ortiz, who's a 19% this year, 17% in his career, versus Tyler Tribe's connections, who are only 12% trainers overall. And then the 3, Too Much Info, another horse I think is interesting to try to beat this horse with. Debuts first out, 5-1 that day, wins first out, going 5.5 on the turf, and has been training the last, 5 works on the dirt at Oaklawn Park for Diodoro, who's a 21% trainer. I just think there's some opportunities to try to beat this 1 to 2 shot. Could this horse run off the screen? Absolutely. But I'll lose if that happens.
So some reasons to play against this 1 to 2 favorite, and you actually are intrigued by a long shot in here.
I am. JK was just talking about now he's dropped to single-digit odds, but Too Much Info. I said that he looked like a turf horse. Well, Greg, what do I always say? That these sealed tracks, they can mimic the turf. And watching him warm up, I thought he looked sensational. He looked sharp out there on the racetrack, too. And there is a little bit more pedigree if you do some digging for the dirt. McLean's Music, they can do almost anything. If anything, they're best at dirt sprinting. I think he's pretty intriguing here.
Interesting, too. I say it all the time. You have turf speed sprinting, you're going to be just as quick, if not quicker, than the top or fastest dirt sprinters, because turf speed translates to dirt. Can he pressure Tyler's Tribe earlier. We're going to find out. Tyler's Tribe, 5, perfect 5 for 5 on dirt surfaces. Nearly 60 lengths combined, margin of victory in those 5 wins. First time on an off track here in the Advent. Let's go upstairs to Vic Stauffer for the call.
They're off. Tyler's Tribe broke very well, and he goes right out to the front from Count de Monet in second. Frosted Departure, Too Much Info, and How Did He Do That are next. Then CJ's Storm, followed by Happy is a Choice, and the trailer is Alto Road. Tyler's Tribe takes charge into the far turn. He leads it by a length and a quarter from Too Much Info, who now runs after him in second. Here's Too Much Info within 3/4 of a length of the lead. Count de Monet is third at the rail and 2 from the front. Frosted Departure has 4 lengths to make up. CJ's Storm is next, then Wild Mule to the outside. 3.5 back to Happy is a Choice, then How Did He Do That? And Alto Road top of the stretch in the second Advent Stakes, and Tyler's Tribe is traveling well. He cuts the corner and now leads by a full length and a half from Count de Monet in second. To the outside, Too Much Info. In the center, Wild Mule is moving up, and here's Count de Monet to challenge and pass Tyler's Tribe. Count de Monet is now a length and a half in front. To the outside and a charging Alto Road. Tyler's Tribe no better than second. It is Count de Monet in front. Count de Monet won. I think Alto Road got second, and it's even close for third between How Did He Do That and Tyler's Tribe.
Tyler's Tribe looked to be going pretty good early on in this race. He cannot seal the deal. First defeat on dirt of his career. Count de Monet now 3 for 3.
Yeah, you were interested in this horse, Greg. I questioned the quality of fields that he was facing from out of town in Indiana, but he was just saving ground, sitting the pocket trip, tipped out by Santos Sanger, and gets the job done quite nicely, kind of going away to really won in the way that you want a horse to, and rallying way out in the middle of the field. Number 8, long shot Alto Road, who handled the wet track and had been facing some tough company while in Texas and Oklahoma. Yeah, 8. Yeah, third's really
very close for third, but Count de Monet, yeah, the 8, Alto Road. This pick 5 be a 3 out of 5 situation.
Yeah, what did the one end up going off at? Because I feel like he was like 20-1 when I last looked, but he may have come down a bit. So
15-1.
15-1. 15-1 over 50-1. I mean, the 8's got to be
44. Yeah.
44. 8's got to be a huge price. So very nice exacta in the Advent.
And look, you brought it up. Jonathan talked about it as well. I mean, even Paul, there's reasons to question Tyler's Tribe in this spot.
I don't want to question.
Obviously, still has tons of ability.
Right. And he's wickedly fast. And I don't want to, question what any other trainer does. But when a horse bleeds like he did, and he bled out the nostrils, you put him away. You let them recoup, you let their lungs heal up, and you bring back a horse that's not going to be worried about it, not going to be thinking about it. So hopefully, they do the right thing by the horse and give him a little break, because there's talent there.
Yeah, eventually they've said they want to stretch him out and go longer. We'll see if that's next for him in his 3-year-old season to come. Count de Monet, though, 3 for 3 in a stakes win in the Advent on the opening day here at Oaklawn Park. Well, the prices for you when we come back. Nightcap to come. Upset in the feature. It's been a day of upsets at Oaklawn. We'll be back.
Champion Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
How do you become the gold standard in racing partnerships? One partner, one horse, one victory at a time.
Flight line, 20 lengths clear.
Congratulations to all our partners who have made West Point the gold standard for the last 3 decades.
The sun shines bright on Carricanti. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe. And his offspring are lighting up the sales ring. With his biggest and best quality of books in the pipeline, the sun shines bright on this value sire. Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Back with you on America's Day of the Races on our FS2 coverage of the feature on opening day at Oaklawn in the Advent Big Upset. Tyler's Tribe, first defeat on dirt of his career for the Iowa bred, Count de Monet. He is perfect, 3 for 3 now in his career for trainer Tom Swearingen.
Yeah, son of Speightster, Dance with Ravens mare, Raven-esque. Back to my Maryland bred roots, but wow, he did hang on for third. It got very tight there in the end, but a huge exacta, over $800, Greg.
Let's go to Paul LaDuca for more on the feature.
Yeah, I'm with winning trainer here, Tom Swearingen, with Count de Monet. Are you counting the money today? Well, 3 in a row. It's a nice little filly you got in your hands here, Tom.
He's a nice colt. He's done real well. He's developed beautifully, and we just hope he can continue.
Yeah, you know, coming into this race, Tyler's Tribe, 5 wins. There was a lot of horses that were on winning streaks. It seems like everybody forgot about your horse was on a nice little winning streak.
Well, you know, we came from Indiana, and we got here early, and we trained over the track, and he seemed to really adapt well here, and we're real happy with what he's been doing, and we just hope he can continue.
And you're using Santos Sandra, who's getting better and better, and I know you've been using him a lot more. You got a saddle of Miracle Shoes in the last. Yep. How are your chances in the last?
She's a real nice filly. We ran her here once last year. We got a race in her in Indiana, and I'm hoping that she'll show us something good. I just don't know about the track condition.
Well, congratulations with Count the Money. Where would you go with her after this?
I'll just kind of let him tell me. We'll give him a few weeks, and we'll decide from there.
Well, Tom Swearingen gets the job done. So does Santos Sandra. 3 for 3 on this son of Speightster. He's going to look to close out the double, and the last was the 12, guys.
Exciting for Tom Swearingen to have this colt on this type of win streak, and now get a stakes win under his belt as you shut the door on 2022.
Yeah, and one that you got to feel a little head of steam heading into the 3-year-old season, where they have a nice little program, whether it be for horses that want to go on the Derby Trail. I don't know if he's really one that wants to do that. Maybe he is. I don't know. But there's also the sprint kind of program that they have for the 3-year-olds as well.
Going to hear more from this horse.
I agree with you. I really like the way he won. I mean, he won under wraps last time out. Again, it wasn't the greatest field, but now he's shown that he is the goods, beating what, going into this race, looked to be a nice field.
Yeah. Nightcap still to come on this opening day card. Going to close things out. Paulie alluded to it. We're going to see Tom Swearingen with a runner in here as well. That's Miracle Shoes, the 10. 6 furlongs, state bred, maiden special weight, and 8 to 5. What do you do with Pattern Bet? 5 starts, 5 seconds, including a stakes race as a maiden. 2 starts back. That was back in April at Oaklawn. Does she just not have the will to go by and finish the job?
And that was her closest defeat of her record so far. And I really think she should have won last time, Greg. I agree with you. She is that non-alpha female, not a herd leader, not an alpha mare. So you got to wonder, at a short price, are you really willing to take her? I mean, the horse right outside of her, Gold Strategy, she's had her chances too, but she's run, just a little bit slower than Pattern Bet. And if there's another step forward, because they're both coming off of similar layoffs and out of actually the same exact race.
She's been beaten by, or Pattern Bet's finished ahead of her 3 times, but reasons, I agree, to think Gold Strategy might be the better play today. We'll get deeper into this field when we come back from a short timeout. Nightcap to come on this opening day card in Hot Springs. We'll have the story of this track's founders as well. The motto of the Sella family racing first. We'll tell you all about it when we come back here on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage as opening day continues from Hot Springs.
Here comes Malathaat. Here comes Clariere on the outside. They're coming to the finish, and it's going to be Clariere. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. Cody's Wish on the outside. Cody's Wish with the upset in the Fargo. Malathaat grabs the lead in deep stretch, and Malathaat has won the Personal Ensign Stakes.
Curling, the classic sire.
We're really excited about Catholic Boy. I know he has some good ones coming. We have some really good ones here on the farm that we're excited about selling in September. We think a couple of them have a chance to really break through and ring the bell and be very good representations of what we've seen from the stallion. He's passing on that more than ready look with maybe a little more stretch and leg. People forget that he was so dominant in the Travers. He won it by 4 lengths, beat Good Magic, Vino Rosso, and Mendelssohn, who are all stallions that stand for more money than he does somehow, even though Catholic Boy won grade 1s on both turf and dirt at NYRA tracks. New York racing is some of the best in the world, and to win grade 1s at that circuit is really hard to do, and Catholic Boy did it a couple times. We really think the first group of horses that will be showcased at yearling sales later this summer and fall will really show what we've seen and why we're so thrilled with what we've seen with Catholic Boy. And he has tremendous versatility, obviously, and so does More Than Ready. He comes from the Halo line, which we don't have much of here in the United States anymore. Obviously, it's been wildly successful in Japan. It's continuing on. All their sons and daughters that you see winning across the world stage basically trace back to Sunday Silence, which is the Halo line. So I really hope breeders will realize that we have a great Halo line here still going in the United States, and that it really needs to be supported because it's such a strong, influential line worldwide. Talking about fitting the bill for a Claiborne sire, he was a grade 6 winner at 2, not just a winner, but a grade 6 winner at 2, grade 1 winner at 3, multiple grade 1 winner at 3, and then another stakes winner at 4. So he was a stakes winner all 3 years that he raced. He's a really good-looking son of More Than Ready out of a Bernardini mare, who's a great broodmare sire. He comes from a good family, and we're hoping that he passes on his good genes that were successful on the track.
Our live coverage, opening day at Oaklawn, continues, and it's brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. We have the Nightcap coming up on this opening day card. Of course, this track run by the Sella family, and they're part of what makes Oaklawn an unforgettable experience. you can feel that family pride that they bring to the racetrack in each and every day they provide for race fans. Excuse me, for the Sella family. I just got buzzed right there. Racing first, it is not only their motto, it is a way of life, going back to their founding of this racetrack in 1904.
First and foremost, it's a family operation. It's fun to be a fourth-generation president of Oaklawn and to see how we've grown. We've been in the same location. We haven't had to move across the street. That's kind of neat. It is about racing at Oaklawn. We tell everyone, especially our new employees, it's racing first. My great-grandfather, Louis Sella, built it in 1904. Charles Sella took over after him. John Sella took over after him, and then we had another Charles Sella, my father, take it over, and now we have Louis Sella. We like keeping the same names in the family. It helps with monogramming. I would sit in on meetings even at a young age. My father would take me and say, you know, be quiet and sit in the corner, and I'd do and just listen. And throughout my life, I've been involved with racing, and it's always been really a part of me until finally the time when it was time to move in and commit. You can look at our media guide, which is published online as well, and look at that history. It's remarkable. We've beaten Prohibition, and we've gone through a couple of world wars and Vietnam and depressions, recessions. Truly the reason we're successful is for the reasons I just said, that we've been able to evolve, we've been able to change with the times. Beyond that, it's racing first, and really the oldest family in racetrack management in the United States, and we're very proud of that, and we're proud of that legacy, and we think that racing is successful and exciting and has a great future if you believe in it, and if you put your heart and soul in it, and you go forward with that mentality. We see that with our employees, we see that with our trainers, our horsemen, we see that with the horse owners that fly in from coast to coast because of the excitement that we have here at Oaklawn.
Sella family, you've been there, you've seen what this experience is like up close and personal.
And they really do an excellent job. They have made it, and they put the racing first, Greg. And so therefore, you know, the hotel that they built, it's right on the corner, or the clubhouse turn, so people can watch the racing. It's really a state-of-the-art facility that yet has so much history to it. And the Sella family, to have a racetrack in one family for so long is absolutely unheard of these days.
How tough was that commute for you?
Oh, God, the wall.
Clubhouse turn to the front entrance. We have the finale coming up from Oaklawn. State bred maiden special weight sprint to close it out on our opening day coverage. We'll have the post parade for you when we come back here on our FS2 coverage.
War Dancer. The momentum continues with recent stakes winners on turf and dirt. Dancing Buck going wire to wire in the Grade 3 Belmont Turf.
Dancing Buck has opened up on the field. It is Dancing Buck by a half dozen lengths.
And 2-year-old filly War Saichi with a wire-to-wire win in the Ladyfinger Stakes.
War Saichi asserted her authority immediately out of the starting gate, and she has not relinquished the lead.
War Dancer, the #1 third crop turf sire in North America. Proud to stand in New York.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
The Run Happies are hot, hot, hot with his 2-year-olds burning up the track. Recent top runners include this growing list of winners at Churchill Downs. Plus the speedy 2-year-old colt, Happy is a Choice, a 5-length maiden winner at Keeneland.
Happy is a Choice, Francisco Arrieta to win it.
Price for value and turning up the heat. Call today and book your mare to Eclipse Champion Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races on FS2, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Closing out this opening day card with a state-bred maiden special weight sprint at 3/4 of a mile. We talked about pattern bet, the two. It was even money right now. 5 starts, 5 seconds, including one of those in a stakes race, but not been able to get over the hump. We'll see her in a moment. We start with a 1. Ms. Gisela.
Did face boys last time, but she has done absolutely no running in 3 career starts so far, Greg. But this is her first start against restricted Arkansas breds.
So here she is, 5 seconds and 5 starts for pattern bet.
Well, I feel like all would be right in the world if Ron Moquette, the native of Arkansas, won the first and last race on opening day.
Yeah, how about that? 9-1 gold strategy. Pattern bet's finished ahead of her 3 times.
Yeah, look, she's going to have to find more on pattern bet, but at least she's been within sniffing distance, taking blinkers off, and maybe she improves as a late 3-year-old.
First-time starter here in the 4 went by 27-1, and then 40-1. Mo won a go.
Whoa, Mo's going to have to find more go than what she did first time out. This is a 4-year-old only making her second start.
13-1 on this one here. Delta Moon, second-time starter who debuted at Louisiana Downs.
Yeah, I mean, there could be some upside with this daughter of Orb. Looking still a little green out on the racetrack, but still looking well.
Courageous Cap'n is made 7 starts.
Best race did come on the turf. We'll see how this daughter McLean's Music, though, negotiates the wet track.
8, interesting. This filly took money in the debut for Randy Morse.
Did take money, and she's going to have to come off of the layoff, as you said, and facing some of the same horses in here that did finish in front of her.
Sweet Baby Kate, another one that debuted at Louisiana Downs, was a big price.
Yeah, I mean, again, another horse that gets in with Arkansas Company. Maybe that moves her up.
Here's the Tom Swearingen filly who won the feature.
She's just going to have to get out of the gate. She just has no early speed, and that puts her behind the 8 ball.
Tenzing debuting at 36-1.
Daughter of Algorithms does do well with his first-time start, 13%. Dan was a winner, and so was a sibling.
And Bootlegging Girl, she's shown some ability at Prairie Meadows.
And shows some tactical speed, so that always helps at Oaklawn. You don't want to be I say that. I think the track is very, very fair in here, but usually when you're dealing with this level, you don't want to be too far out of it. And like I said, she's got some speed to keep her up close.
Paulie, some tough calls late on this card. We saw it with Tyler's Tribe, and now Pattern Bet with 5 seconds and 5 starts. She's a short price.
Yeah, Oaklawn Park's made it tough today for handicap, and Tyler's Tribe gets beat, opened up at 1-9, and you have a horse here in Pattern Bet. Wow, this is a really tough call because when you look at this horse's races, they're phenomenal. I mean, the Rainbow Mist that we're showing you right now, this horse didn't break well, actually got steady behind the 8 ball, was about 10 to 15 lengths out of it, and just made this unbelievable charge with Freddie Manrique that day at Oaklawn Park. This was in April, and the horse ran a really nice race. Now, the race before that was 50 cents on the dollar, and like Maggie said, the 3 horse in here, Gold Strategy, was within sniffing distance. I like that analogy there by Maggie, but the 3 is not that far off the 2. You just keep looking at the 2 and you're thinking, when is, she finally going to break through? I understand there's second-itis, but when you get close and close, there's going to be a time when you're going to break through. I do think the 3, Gold Strategy does have a look in here. The other horse that I thought was interesting, you made a good point, Greg, when you pointed to the 8 Little Rocker. Now, Randy Morse had a horse a little bit earlier that ran, actually I thought ran really well, just got run down at the wire, and Joe Talamo gets aboard. I thought Delta Moon was actually very, very interesting. The 6 in here, Christian Torres for John Prather. This is a horse that, took a little bit of money in Louisiana Downs. I just like the pedigree. Orb had his best Saturday in May over a muddy racetrack, so I'm thinking maybe take a little bit of shot at Delta Moon. but I do think the 3 is not that far off from the horse to beat the 2, and I know, JK, you think the same thing.
Yeah, if you look at the 2 pattern bet at a short price, one thing I will say is maybe there is a little second-itis there, but this horse hasn't run since April, so there's an opportunity to kind of grow up a little bit. You mentioned the 3, who I do think is interesting. They thought enough of this horse to run in a stake as a maiden. Anyone who makes that decision, there's got to be at least a little bit of talent there that you think that this horse could come back a little bit mature and run well late in the 3-year-old year in a maiden special weight. So at 8-1 on the board, I thought Gold Strategy made some sense. The 8 Little Rocker was 5-1 on debut back in March. Always follow the money. Another one I thought was interesting if you're looking for an alternative to the 3-5 favorite. And then the 12 Bootlegging Girl drawn towards the outside. I like those outside draws. And there's never anything wrong with 17-1.
Yeah, that's the 12 which shown. We talked about ability. Prairie Meadows off since August at 4/3 in 6 starts, but a one who could maybe move forward in here. For pattern bet, back to the favorite. Best figure she ever ran with a second start of her career. She's kind of gone backwards since then.
Yeah, I mean, that 71, it's certainly an outlier. If she could ever get back to that, boy, she'd win by a city block, wouldn't she? It does feel like maybe not the truest fig that hasn't held up.
Can she break through? 5 seconds and 5 starts. She is odds on. Pattern bet. By the way, the only one alive to a pick 5 paying for 5 of 5.
You. No, I'm kidding.
I wish. Everyone else paying to 4 of 5 in the pick 5 today.
Wow.
See how it plays out here. Vic Stauffer the call to close out this Oaklawn opening day card.
They're at the post. They're off. Bootlegging Girl broke very well. So did Mo Wanna Go. Miracle Shoes and Little Rocker are close up. Then comes Delta Moon, Pattern Bet at the rail, and Between Horses Gold Strategy. Next in the center is Tenzing, followed by Courageous Cap'n and First Rate Romance. Then Ms. Gisela, and the trailer is Sweet Baby Kate. Up the backstretch with Mo Wanna Go in charge. It's a 2-length lead over Gold Strategy, and just outside of her goes Little Rocker. A length and a half to Miracle Shoes. Pattern Bet is advancing at the rail. Here's Pattern Bet within 3.5 of the front. Courageous Cap'n is next. At the rail, First Rate Romance, and Mo Wanna Go is still in charge. Mo Wanna Go at the quarter pole. Gold Strategy begins to run after her in second. Pattern Bet just took third. She's 2.5 from the front. Top of the stretch, Mo Wanna Go, but here's Gold Strategy right alongside. In the center goes Pattern Bet, and now here she comes. Pattern Bet's on the move. In the center, First Rate Romance. Charging from the back of the pack is Miracle Shoes. It is Pattern Bet to now strike the front, and she's now 2 in front. Mo Wanna Go tries to hold second from Gold Strategy. 3 wins. Rafael Bejarano, Pattern Bet in front. Pattern Bet won by 4.5. Mo Wanna Go second. Close for third between Gold Strategy and Delta Moon.
Gets it done today. Pattern Bet, no problem this time around. Start number 6 for Ron Moquette. Rafael Bejarano.
Yeah, Rafael Bejarano off to a running start at the Oaklawn meet. Same with trainer Ron Moquette bookending the field and winning the Nightcap with the heavily favored Pattern Bet.
Race here was for third, either the 3 or 6. You can head to Naira Bet's website to find out who got it. 2-5 and either 3 or 6. Fun show.
Yeah.
We're back tomorrow, 2:30 start time on our FS2 coverage. So we will see you then on Saturday with stakes action at both racetracks. First ever win in the young career of Maddie Ulver. You were part of it.
Yay, I'm so happy for her.
For Tom Morley's barn, well done. Synthesis taking the 8th at Aqueduct. And Count de Monet, big upset. Tyler's Tribe, first defeat on dirt. And this horse now a perfect 3 for 3, winning for trainer Tom Swearingen. We'll see you tomorrow, 2:30 start time on FS2.